So basically, the motivation behind making an album was probably like almost a year ago, and that was back to Bust a Move and
Yeah.
Junior Sanchez
Yeah.
and fucking we had just played in LA, me and Alex. We did a back to back show at this club called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in I think it was Koreatown. It was
Got
a
it.
sick show, and then I was driving back, and then Junior Sanchez hits up Alex, and like we're just like, hey, Alex is like, hey, Giaz is here,
Yeah.
and I'm driving, and then like he puts him on speaker, and we're all just vibing, like for like 30 minutes, and then Junior's just like, bro, like you should make a fucking album, and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I feel like I already have like some tracks that I already had like the concept of the album I wanted to make,
Yeah.
but I was just like, Brobot's always been kind of a home to me because I had already released like 4 EPs with Brobot,
Yeah.
and they've always supported everything I do, So I was like, I feel like if there's a label that I need to release an album on, is one of the labels that give me the biggest opportunities in my career as well, because I feel like Brobot helped my music get in the right hands of a lot of good artists. Like helped me get a lot of exposure, a lot of support. So these tracks are really dope. They're kind of summery vibes, chill vibes, and if I want to make an album, I want to focus on this and make it sound quality. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I did go ahead and do that, and then yeah, I mean, I just dedicated all my time to it the whole year, and now it's released.
We are live. What's up, border kids? How you guys
What's
doing?
good?
How's it going? This is third episode in English. I'm really, really happy. We're looking forward to starting this episode. This your host once again, Daniel Cuadras, aka El Border Kid, here once again, another episode. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you guys are. Um, yeah, man, we're here with a very special person, someone that I literally met like almost like in the middle of college, I would say.
Yeah,
And honestly, the first time I met this guy, he was on the decks, and ever since I always seen him, just grinding, producing, making new beats, always looking where the party is at, the next party at, just like me. Just another person that loves to get you groove on, dance. And honestly, I've always admired him, especially during the pandemic. I saw him do a lot of producing, a lot of work into his craft, and as one of him, just like an artist or a creator, we tend to balance things when it comes to our labor, get our work done to get pay the bills and also pay our craft. And yeah, dude, so it's just someone I really admire, as a creator, as a DJ, as a producer. We have here, guys, Jesus, aka Jesus the Punk, man.
thank you so much, man. And likewise, bro. Honestly, I've been admiring your craft too with the podcast and everything, and the editing and everything is
Yeah.
it's pretty dope, bro.
Yeah,
You
dude.
gotta stay at what you like to do.
Yeah,
And
especially, man. I love talking to people. I love meeting them.
hell yeah,
I love knowing like why they think the way they do, or
yeah,
like why
yeah,
they do what they're doing,
yeah.
and any kind of craft. And dude, thank you so much for inviting us to your
Oh
studio.
yeah, no worries, man. It's
Um,
kind of hot, but at least we can get the work done.
hey man, my studio. I was telling you, my studio gets a little bit hot too.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been thinking about putting a mini split or just like a little cooler, but sometimes it's gotta
Yeah.
gotta bear with it. We got a little
Gotta work with what you
got a little
got.
beers here.
Hell
Cheers
yeah.
again, brother.
Cheers, my
We're
G.
here, man. Again, man. Thank you. But yeah, man. I mean, in the beginning, we're just kind of figuring out stuff with the SIM card and just trial and error on little stuff here and there. But
Nah, that's all good.
we're here, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Honestly, just been grinding, working on music, uh, pretty much taking life as it comes. And yeah, bro, for me, it's just another day, another journey, and yeah, keeping at it. How about you, my G?
I'm pretty good, man. Just kind of settling down into making more episodes now. Just I would kind of take a little break, maybe we'll say 2-3 months of just
Yeah,
from like Coachella
Oh
and
shit,
a
yeah.
little other festivals here and there. Shout out to my boy Joseves Alejandro, just like going out with him and experimenting with I would say new sounds or new
Yeah.
DJs, and like I always see new too, and always showing support because sometimes it just takes even just one share on Instagram or on Facebook, or even just showing up to one of your shows like at Bang Bang.
Yeah, yeah.
The last time I showed up was like maybe like a couple months ago.
Yeah, yeah,
With our friend Vanessa. Shout out
yeah. Yeah.
Vanessa Ames.
For real.
But just like those little things that definitely goes a long way.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just so
definitely.
easy just to be hanging out and listening to music,
Of course.
and especially like if you're playing at Bang Bang, it's like, hey, dude, like you're gonna be there, like let's do it.
Yeah, hell yeah, come through.
But yeah, dude, I'm just like now back into like more of a being more productive. So I'm really looking forward into just having this new season of the podcast like starting.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, man. So let's just kind of start from kind of go back into memory lane. Obviously, we know that. I know that you grew up in the border. You were
Yeah.
born in San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego, yeah.
So kind of obviously a border kid too. You would
Yeah,
consider
definitely.
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I mean, I was born here in San Diego. Parents from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I mean, being a border kid, definitely, you see a lot of culture, a lot of you know, generations of culture, especially, fuck, it's super hot, sorry.
It's all
But
good.
yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for it, because you get to experience a lot of different things of life, in such a close, two cities,
Yeah.
and generations of life. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that always had an impact with like my kind of lived lifestyle, and
Yeah.
what kind of led me into music, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's honestly a privilege at the same time.
Yeah, and it's I always ask that because it's really bizarre, but like growing up in a multicultural place, just like the border, because it's like two very different worlds, and then we just cross, and obviously Spanish, I know Spanish,
Yeah.
and I even asked what do you feel most comfortable in talking,
Oh yeah.
and you're like, dude, honestly Spanish, but at the same time like English a little bit better, but I'm like, dude, el border kid,
Yeah.
hablamos español, inglés, we switch back
I feel
and
like
forth.
I'm very like pocho sometimes, but I can do both. Like I'd rather. I mean, if I kind of grew up more here, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I was, I know like my family is all Spanish speaking,
Yeah.
so it's like I kind of got to work, with a little bit more of it, but I can do it as well.
Yeah,
But,
and I've
I
had
just,
many.
I just feel more comfortable in English.
Yeah, and I've had many guests, that it's like they're all speaking Spanish, and then they're like, "Oh shit, like, how do you say that?" Like, oh, sorry, like I'm saying in English. And we're like, dude, that the podcast is called El Border Kid, because it's
Yeah.
basically EL and then Border Kid, and I speak both ways, and unless you're not from the border, you wouldn't understand that
How
we're
that
just
works.
so easy how we just tend to switch back and
Yeah.
forth with languages. And even like people from down south in Mexico, like when you hear like Starbucks, and they're like, "Oh, it's Starbucks, ay, güey, qué gringo," and then you're like, "Dude, well,"
They have the
and
whole
no,
little
they're like, "Oh,
perspective.
like how do you say? ¿Cómo le dices tú? Starbucks." I'm like, pues,
I'm
wait,
like-
I mean, that's not how you say it. You can pronounce it that way, but the way more English
Yeah.
way of saying it, you can say it that way.
Definitely.
But yeah, man. So yeah, you grew up here in San Diego. And when would you say? I mean, obviously we know, but the people that don't know you, like what kind of music influenced you like growing up? Like I've heard in many like interviews that you were super into disco, classic rock, and things that probably your parents were listening to.
Yeah.
Just like my parents, like my mom would always listen to 92.5 every time
Oh,
we'd be
hell yeah.
on the road or crossing the border,
Yeah.
to get to school. So where would you say like you get your influences in music from?
I mean, that's pretty much on you nailed it right there. But like, yeah, I guess you can say like my family as well. Like my dad's a big disco guy. Big they're Mexican, but they don't really listen to Mexican music. They listen
Yeah.
to like 70s Donna Summer,
Yeah.
Barbra Streisand,
Yeah.
fucking all that shit. And I'm also the youngest of three siblings, so
Mhm.
I kind of got to experience a lot of their like how you say like their generation of music.
Yeah.
Since I was the youngest one, I would just take it all in, kind of thing. So what got me into music, honestly, was just kind of expression, like being able to express what I feel into
Right.
it. My brother was also like he was always like, playing guitar and shit and
Mm-hmm.
listening to more punk music, but I was always into the drums. So the drums were my first stepping stone into,
Okay.
yeah, to this day, like I think I would even replace DJing with drumming if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't want to deal with like the whole like band shit. It's just easy to make music by yourself.
Yeah,
But
of course.
yeah, it was as like my introductory to music, I guess. Yeah, my family definitely, my siblings had a big input in it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the sounds I make now really consist of like, I guess you can say more on the disco side, but also it all depends on how I feel in a way,
Yeah.
like, disco house and the deep house, whatever. It's all depends on my emotion. But yeah, definitely my influences come
That's dope,
from
dude.
probably from my dad's record collection, man. He has a
Hey,
huge wall of like
like a
vinyls.
vinyl
Yeah, to
records.
this day he's a big vinyl enthusiast.
That's I mean, that's
Yeah,
very, very old school, but at the same time, like it takes a lot of time and a lot
yeah.
of like patience to find the records and buy
Oh
them
hell
and
yeah.
go to the, the flea market or go to,
Yeah, we used
even
to go to
before.
the swap meet on Sundays, and just
Oh
like my dad
shit,
used to just come out with a stack of records. Like that's what we
that's
would go hard.
dope.
Yeah, that was like the family thing back in the day.
Yeah, dude. Because
So
nowadays, it's just like sorry for like Spotify, or just
oh
like you
yeah,
get it right
it
in a
totally
week.
fucking it totally like devalues music
Yeah.
compared to what it was before, and
Hmm.
it's part of the reason why it's really hard to for an artist to just make a living like before,
Yeah.
because this being too accessible sometimes is good, but it's not the best thing that can happen
Hmm.
financially, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's kind of my background, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck, I just started jamming on my mom's MacBook. What's it called? No, it was what was it
Emac,
called?
an
Fuck that.
iMac,
The
or
iBook.
the iBook.
iBook
Okay.
G4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got into music. Like I would just jam on that shit. Like it was my sister's computer, but then it
Hmm.
was like a hand me down, and like I was like a teenager, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna use GarageBand, and
GarageBand.
yeah, that's
Before
dude,
Logic, before
yeah,
Ableton, that
that's what
was
I
a
used
thing.
like for forever. Just after school, I would just
Yeah.
start jamming and shit. I wouldn't even I would just make anything that came to my mind, like fucking.
And what, like, who got you into like GarageBand? Was it just like you found it
It
on a
was just me
computer
fucking around,
and then
bro.
just put a little snare
Yeah,
and
I
then
just knew
start
like
moving
fucking
around?
pressing record, and then like opening a software instrument and
Yeah,
just jamming with like the musical typing or the key or
of
connecting a
course.
little keyboard. But
Yeah,
then that just became like a fucking a passion, I
yeah.
guess, I mean, not passion, it's just like I just like a fucking instinct. I feel like I
Well,
like to make
it
it.
starts to get addicting, It
Yeah,
just like starts to say like, wait, what now? Like a new sound, Like let's add this into the other sound, and
yeah.
then it sounds,
See
oh
what you
wait,
can create.
it sounds different, but then
Yeah,
you mix it and then you move the puzzles around and then just make another beat, and then it's
yeah.
just like from there
Pretty much,
move
yeah. I mean,
around.
I just add a new channel, a new sound, and see where it goes, and
Yeah,
it was nice.
of
I
course.
was really
And
feel like I was always like really hyperactive as a kid, so it helped me fucking control my emotions a lot with like just focusing on like, oh, I can make this now or
that's
something.
good.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, of course. And did your dad play any instruments, or no? Just
Nah.
listen to
Just
music.
listen to music,
But then your
music
brother was more
fanatics.
into like the guitar.
Yeah, more on
Yeah,
guitar, and then like it was cool. I mean,
yeah,
he wasn't like the best player, but he loved it, and
of
like he would
course.
fuck around and jam with other people and
Yeah,
shit. But
yeah.
yeah, I think I'm the one that took it to the like I want to
Yeah,
pursue this shit.
yeah. Actually, my brother was in a band like in high school, and he played the guitar, and he was like the not the lead singer, but the second singer.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I would just see the drums. I was super intrigued in the drums,
yeah.
but then my mom and my dad bought him like a Marshall like amplifier and the whole thing,
Uh huh.
and like with a guitar, and then we lived in the very small apartment, like 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, just
Yeah,
like very small, like kind of like a little hen house. And then he would just
yeah.
play guitar and just be like loud amplifier all the time. And then I'll be like, Mom, like I want an instrument, like I'll play the drums. She's like, are you crazy? Like
Yeah, it's like,
your brother's playing like it's like dead animals, and he's like yelling like screamo like hardcore, and you want a
going
drum.
through the whole house
And I'll
and
be like,
shit.
fuck. Now I got bummed out, but at the same time, like that would have been my instrument. I don't play
Yeah,
any
it's
instruments.
fun because you're beating the shit out of some drums.
Yeah,
It's like
just
it's
like I'm pretty
good.
sure like you
Yeah,
like once you start playing it, you kind of really stress, and at the same time you find the beat
yeah.
to it, and
I mean, I sucked at it, but as soon as I got the fundamental down, the fundamental beat, just a 4 beat drum
yeah,
beat, it was like, all right, this is so easy now. It's like you
yeah.
just add more shit, train your legs to have more stamina, and
Oh shit.
you
Yeah.
just feel the rhythm.
Did you ever get into like music lessons like
Nah,
with the
never.
drums?
Besides, I learned a lot on YouTube.
Oh damn.
And that was when YouTube first started out, like in 2000. I forgot, was it 2004 or so, or 2006, around there?
Yeah, around there. Like
There wasn't a lot of. I mean, it was
like mid
it wasn't
2000s.
like the biggest platform like it is
Uh-huh.
now, but shit, it was people posting like how to do this, how to do that,
For
and
sure.
like shitty quality, but it was like, like it got the job done.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. To this day, like I have this synthesizer that I always like. I forget how to use sometimes,
Yeah.
but I still find that oldest video of it because it's the one that showed me how to use it.
Mm,
So it's like
yeah.
it was a cool tool to use at the day during the
of course.
yeah.
No, but that's really important. You know, sometimes we tend to find different outlets in life, or just like when you're growing up, just like, you know, maybe you don't have, you know, friends, or you don't have someone to go up to and just like talk to, or, you know, some people go to sports, some people go to music, some people go
Yeah.
to, I don't know, go to spelling bee contests. But you know, you just gotta kind of find your way of
Yeah.
navigating and surviving in these like really important stages of life, because that's kind of like right before your personality starts to develop.
Exactly.
So when you were like starting to play the drums and like garage band, like were you like in middle school?
Yeah,
or...
like early high school, like probably like I was fucking around a garage band at like 13, so freshman year.
Nice.
And then towards my like sophomore, junior, I started taking it more like, okay, I want to start playing more electronic stuff.
Okay. And what got you into like electronic?
I've always liked it, like I've always liked it, like fuck, like I would even give credit to like Cher,
Mm-hmm.
that song in the 90s, I
Yeah.
believe song, like that was kind of
You believe, or the you
Yeah, that one. That song,
yeah.
That was probably a big, because it was a house beat, and then
Yeah.
around that time was like Daft Punk Discovery came out, so it's like fucking all, like my siblings would go clubbing, so it was when like One More Time came out and the whole album.
Okay. And
like,
were you the youngest out of your
yeah, I
siblings?
was like fucking 8 years old, so I was like I would hear all this shit. Music videos were cool,
Yeah.
like that was a cool time to live in, because it allowed you to like have a visual to the
navigate
music.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Digest it in your own way.
exactly,
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. I totally get it. We were talking about right before here having a beer and just a little burrito. I'm still a little bit full, but just your burping. But yeah, just you were talking about MTV, how like it was really like, honestly, like throughout our generations, 90s, 2000s kids, like early 2000s, like how MTV music television, even like mid 80s kind of was when it started, right?
Yeah, it was sick. I mean, back in the day, you would wait for like premieres of a music video, and it was like
10,
a big thing. Yeah,
the top
and then
5.
It was like, you would stay up all night just to watch the premiere of the music video.
Yeah,
and then
I would always watch, like, remember like the music, like the MTV like music awards.
Yeah.
MTV Video Music Awards, and then just see what it was.
It was it was a cool thing, like it was. But now it's this fucking like reality show. It's like what, just Rob Dyrdek ridiculousness over and over. And
you were telling me that, because like honestly, I mean, from Tijuana, I would just like put the MTV on Sky or
and it's just having music in the background,
pirated DirecTV, but it was just you would see that, and then Jackass started to come in, and then start implement not so much music anymore, but just like more like como se llama, el morbo, just like into like like this thing.
Remember that show, The Room Raiders?
Room Raiders next.
The one that Date My Mom or whatever.
And then Dismissed. You ever watch Dismissed?
No, I don't know which one that was.
Dismissed, it was just like between two guys, and then the one girl, and then it was like, oh, you're dismissed. I was like, why am I dismissed? Like, because I don't like you, or like,
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was just
I kind of like that trash TV, but it killed the music concept of it and being available.
Exactly, it was just kind of like segueing it to like another thing that's not even music. Because it's always bringing more revenue and more money,
more viewers at the time, I guess, that were into it. But it's like,
el morbo, pues.
But now it's just fucking like morbo.
Yeah, what do you call morbo in English?
Fuck, like trash TV, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
trash TV, like
clout
or junk TV. Yeah, I guess clout.
Yeah, just like clout, where everyone's like into trending. Yeah, for sure, man. No, but, that's dope. And then so then you were like in middle school, like fucking around with music, playing around, and then like where was it, like where you kind of started seeing like electronic music kind of making like through Daft Punk, like, 'cause I remember too, like Mastercraft, Justice, like all these like big time artists, like, and I got into like more like through trance, and then psytrance, and then went through like into that. And as many people that are listening, you might have heard that I'm super into like music, or just mostly electronic music, but that's why I could get into conversations like that with producers or DJs. But where was it where just like you're like, dude, you know what, like Was it first that you started to produce music or DJing?
I mean, I was producing it, but I didn't release it. I was just fucking around, but I
Uh-huh.
kind of got the fundamentals of it, and then the time I started to really look into it, that I was like, all right, I really actually want to follow this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you brought back being like a border kid, like just going out in TJ,
Yeah.
I was young. I was probably what, 17, 16, 17, starting to go out in TJ.
And you can just already go into like 18,
Yeah, and I looked
18
old
plus.
always,
Like,
like I looked fucking old. Like I looked like, I looked over the 18 age limit. So
got that Freddie Mercury vibes.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, but fucking I would just go and I wouldn't even get carded, and then you just go to an event and it's like, damn, this is sick,
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went to see Nick Curley and Mandy, and I think that was one of the events that, like, all right, this is pretty dope. I want to
Yeah.
actually play out more.
Was it like in the centro downtown or
Yeah,
what part?
in like by like Sexta, back when it was like
Nice,
at its peak,
Yeah.
And then literally like 2 or 3 months after that, I just started hitting up promoters in Sexta Street, and they're like, "Oh, you want to play here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And yeah, I was in a duo before with my friend Aldo,
Uh-huh.
and then we would play together, and it was
Shout
like,
out to Aldo, man.
yeah, Aldo, yeah. And we would play like fucking 8 to 9 hour sets, bro. Like it was sick as
Yeah.
a fucking, like we kind of taught ourselves how to kind of DJ.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, also YouTube kind of taught
course.
us,
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that guy. I think it was like some guy from England named Ella Skins or something.
Okay.
You can probably still find his videos on YouTube. Dude,
Yeah.
YouTube was a fucking amazing tool, like as when I started,
Yeah, and I feel like it was easier to like to target or
Yeah.
go to what you wanted.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you just put one keyword and it's just like
Yeah, now it's
millions of
just like a
videos.
mess, But I still love it. Like I
Yeah.
love YouTube. Like it's fucking.
That's my
I
biggest-
think I watch it more than Netflix.
That's
or
my biggest
anything.
platform too. man.
Yeah,
watch
like I like to have something in the background. It's usually and I pay for it now, so it's like
Yeah.
no ads. It's just
dude,
like
no, with the premium, dude, I went for like maybe 5-6 years with just no premium,
yeah,
and I just wait for it, and I was like, dude, just
it's
my
worth
homie
it.
Kike, whatever. I was like, dude, do it. And I'm like, dude, it's a whole.
It's fucking
game
worth
changer.
it. I think it's better than Spotify too and shit because the algorithm is even cooler. Like to
Yeah.
get you a new music because not everything is
Yeah.
released.
And when I would see homies just like play something like, and they're like, oh, just wait. I'm like, no, dude, jump, like get in my account. I want to see this.
That's
like-
what I do too. Like let me log in real quick. Just let me fucking
Yeah.
took a scan that
Yeah.
shit.
But you were watching those videos.
Yeah,
there.
like just like how the guy would teach how to beat match, like
Uh-huh.
and like this fool was like what 2008, so like it was just shitty quality videos, but the guy made his point across, and yeah, that's kind of how I started to DJ. So
nice, dude.
it
Nice.
was cool. Yeah, it was pretty dope. And then yeah, like I ended up getting like a residency in the Review in
Okay.
Sexta. I don't know if you remember that place.
Yeah, I think I remember.
And then
like,
Chupeteria.
Chupeteria.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah.
closed down.
I remember I was going through your album of Instagram.
Yeah.
Go on the way back, and
Yeah.
the picture of Chupateria with CDs, before the USBs.
Before the USBs.
And you're
That was
just-
sick, man.
You were on
Like,
top, like kind of like on a bar curb.
yeah,
and
well,
then-
it was like the venue was sick because it was
Yeah.
literally like a giant bar in the middle of the not club, but it's
Yeah.
like a bar, but it was just like
yeah,
banging.
I'll put
bro.
the picture of like right now when we're talking about it. Yeah, it's
fucking.
crazy.
I remember there was girls getting onto the bar and shit dancing. It was cool. It was like
Yeah.
the peak of like that street.
Yeah,
like,
before
it was-
before iPhones, before just like
exactly when people
we're
just partied and had fun. I miss
Yeah.
those days, bro. And now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta be here, gotta be there.
Yeah, now I'm seeing like I mean
Yeah,
even
it's-
now going to festivals or going to see your
yeah,
guy, your DJ, or your group, and like everyone like knows that song, and everyone puts their phones up, and it's not even like everyone's covering your view of the people playing, or you want to.
or you're not really taking in what
Yeah.
you're seeing. You're just thinking more about like content.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I want 100 likes on this video, or just
Yeah.
like I want everyone to know where I'm at.
Yeah, that's the thing with the world of today. It's very,
Yeah.
I think it became very selfish in the way
Yeah.
that people want to get, like you said earlier, clout.
Yeah,
They
and
prioritize clout over fucking
And honestly,
quality and what they do, and like
and sometimes I mean I fall into like kind of that
Yeah.
game, but like
you kind of
going to
hate it
so
at
many-
the same
no,
time. No?
I just record like 1 minute, and after that 1 minute, I put my phone down, and then the next 2-3 hours I'm just
you
dancing,
enjoy it, yeah.
and I look around like, dude, I mean that's why I noticed like nowadays like everyone's just looking at the DJ,
Yeah.
and some like really like heartfelt post that I have noticed from Harbor Base and
Mhm.
Victor.
Yeah.
He posted like maybe I want to say like a month ago, and it was just like it's crazy how like now the fans are looking, or like the audience is looking at the DJ play instead of everyone just dancing around and just the
Yeah.
DJ let him cook,
Exactly,
and you're just
yeah.
like waiting on the next song. It's like, no, dude, like if you actually turn around and look at people and just start dancing, like it's a whole different vibe too.
Yeah,
Because everyone's like, oh shit, like
people are actually enjoying
they're
it.
recognizing me and they want to meet me or dance. I'm like, yeah, dude, just dance. Like, they'll play it. Like, just
don't be fucking have to like publicate everything.
Yeah, it's like enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, man.
but
of course.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much how I got started out, and then.
And at that time, you were what, like junior year?
Yeah, like
sophomore
17,
year?
going to 18 now. At that time, I was there for a minute, and then I probably kept on playing in TJ till I was 20. And then from there, I started playing here in San Diego because I was like, damn, man. Nice. You know, apart from that, like it was cool to network and like, you know, just I would take the trolley there, bro. Like, you know, because I didn't have a car, so I would take the trolley. And I would fucking get back home to my parents' house, and then they'd be all pissed. It was like 6 a.m. and I'm fucking like, you know, not even of age yet. And it was just cool to like, all right, I'm playing, you know, for people there. I'm setting the vibe. I'm fucking, you know, people are acknowledging the like having a good time. You know, like, it was cool. And yeah, I mean, I just stuck with it. But I mean, I would consider myself more. I'd rather produce than, you know, have to DJ to this day. Even like I'd rather just make a living off music than fucking having to perform, to be honest. But if I have to, I would do it. So.
Yeah, of course. And when you started DJing, do you remember like your first turntables that you started playing?
CDJ 200s.
CDJ 200s. Yeah. And who had them, or did you?
I bought him on Craigslist.
Oh shit! Yeah. For how much?
Fuck, I don't remember. Probably like 400, maybe $400 or $500. Because they were already the old ones, you know. You gotta keep in mind the 200s. I think came out in like 2001 or some shit like that. So yeah, before that I think it was a CDJ 100s, which was like opened up like a CD player. Wow. So it was like super OG shit, you know.
Yeah.
And then I mean I had those for a minute, to be honest. Like I didn't fucking upgrade at all till like probably 5 years ago. So I was using like CDJs at home till recently. So.
Yeah, I mean honestly, as long as it works, as long as you can put the next song onto the next one, like, you know, like that's where it's at.
Yeah, and I still got my little CD booklet just in case I ever need it. But
just
man, that's pretty much my fundamental, you know.
Yeah, no, and just like I mean, even like to podcasting, like to cameras, to mics. Yeah. Everyone asks me like, how'd you start? Like, how much? Hey, is these good mics? And they always show like the Joe Rogan mics, and it's like, dude, those are like $400, man. But do you even know how to like plug in a mic with a mic cable and to the computer? Like, you don't. You can buy just like $80, $100 mics,
exactly.
And then
as long as it gets the job done, you know. And I also know that people, I feel like, especially like in the podcast scene, like people like following podcasters that have growth, you know.
Yeah.
So they don't want to see some motherfucker that has like the most high end equipment right from the beginning, because they're like, all right, this was already set in a way, you know. People like watching the guy grow, you know, start with a fucking you're working with what you got and then upgrading little by little, because it takes them part of the journey too, you know what I mean? So
exactly, man. I
mean, that's how I was with music too. Yeah, I to this day, you know, you got to work with what you got, you got to do what you got, and then once you're ready, you move on to other shit.
Yeah, and that's how you evolve, you know. It like forges you into like growing and like finding ways into finding a solution.
Exactly.
Compared to like here, everything is given to you, like you're gonna be overwhelmed and then be like, oh, like what did I use? And like, exactly, dude.
Or you already have. It's like you lose the magic of like this does everything kind of
exactly,
thing.
Man. Yeah,
like, even like fucking like you asked me about the turntables. Like I'm glad that I learned on that shit, because now like that shit doesn't tell you anything when you're mixing. Like the CDJs now, like they'll tell you everything about the song. They'll tell you the speed it's in. They'll show you the whole waveform.
Yeah,
this shit just had like,
how
you
to
know,
sync
like,
it.
It was like a calculator screen. Like, hey, good luck beat matching this shit. Like, you know, besides the speed, it didn't tell you anything else. So
before I was just trying to find like the BPM, and then you kind of finding it like a puzzle, you know.
Yeah, because the CDJs now are like literally mini computers.
Yeah,
like, you know, it's like having a MacBook right there, but it's like tells you everything. So
yeah, exactly, just how
that's why everybody's a DJ now, I feel.
Well, just exactly how it is with editing now. You know, you can use CapCut now, which is mostly like influencers or TikTokers use, and it just edits it on your own on its own.
See, I didn't even know that existed.
Or like even you know, before like a film, like you ever remember like you know that movie Inglourious Bastards, and you know the film, it was just like, all right, you record something and they chop it and then they glue it with the next one, and then they chop it and then they seal it, and then it's edited. Well, now obviously like through computers, it's just like it's a quicker, you know, you just put a memory card and then you put one angle and then the other angle, and then you just click it and then it moves.
It's ready to go.
And it's just so comfortable and it's just so
Yeah.
easy. But sometimes
you don't
like,
have the struggle, no?
in our psyche. In our psyche, we're like, oh, this is editing. But it's like,
yeah.
You go back and people like turn to you like, oh, there's editing harder than this. You know,
details matter.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Also, just shout out to Miss Eklund. That was my teacher that was in Otay Ranch that actually taught me all about editing and
nice.
and making like storytelling.
Yeah.
And she would always say that having the most expensive camera, most expensive equipment doesn't really matter, but it matters what you tell in the story. Exactly. As even if you have like the 92 camcorder, but you tell a way better story than the guy that has an IMAX camera from Hans or like from Christopher Nolan. Like, like
good luck, like if you don't have the content, like the quality behind it, it's like you're just fucking
exactly, man,
doing it for show at that point.
Yeah, dude, of course. And then through high school, man, how like what high school did you go to, or were you here?
I went to Marion Catholic.
Marday. And then just going through there, like I'm guessing you started, also DJing at certain parties and just
in the way of just like hanging out with homies.
Little beer break. But yeah, I was mentioning like, you started kind of getting your name out there. I know you've been like, like literally an SD local and just like mooning around through music. But like, when was it maybe when you saw that point where you're like, oh, I'm getting like known into DJing, and then kind of I could see like maybe a path to becoming bigger than this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was mostly like on the parties I was doing, because it was just mostly like, first of all, I feel people at parties don't really give a fuck who's playing sometimes. Majority of people, at least. Yeah, I mean, there was always people that, oh, that's a sick track, and then we you network with them. But I mean, I feel like most people just want to get laid and fucking party, meet girls want to meet guys and dance and shit. But I feel like I started feeling that on my music I was releasing at the time. Okay. So I think around that time I was already like 18, 19, and I had gotten my first record deal with Saturday Night Sessions, which is like they were half owners of EDC at the time. Okay. And then that girl died in LA or something like that.
Yeah, 2010. I was I was there in the event.
Yeah, I was there too. Yeah. And then fucking they separated. Something happened, and then they started Go Ventures, and they started doing like the other like Together as One and events like that. Yeah. But I was signing my music with them. And then at that time one of my tracks started getting a lot of traction, because it was getting played in ADE and in the Amsterdam Dance Event. Oh, nice. Yeah, and it got featured as like one of the top 10 new disco tracks of the festival.
And it went all the way to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
In Europe.
Yeah. So that's when I started feeling like, oh shit, like this, and there's like a legit fucking like thing. And then Beatport featured it and stuff. And this was back in 2012 or 2013. I remember like, I mean, the Saturday Night Sessions, I signed at 2010. And then I kept on releasing with them, and then that track got somewhere. So I think 2012 was like the year that I felt like, oh shit, my music's kind of finally getting out, And then I was still like partying in San Diego locally, and then I just kept on releasing music, and it kept on getting more love, and it kept on getting more support. I would network with people on the label, artists on the label would hit me up, vice versa. Yeah. We'd start working on collaborations. Yeah. And then you would network with other labels, and it was cool, man. Honestly, it was a cool journey in life, because I feel like it's like you meet a lot of like-minded individuals, and to this day it's like that too. Like, that's the beauty of this, in the music industry, meeting people through their music, and people meeting me through my music. Yeah. So yeah, I guess around that year is when I started figuring out, oh shit, like people are recognizing the sounds I'm making, if it made it that far. So I kind of just kept at it in a way. But I mean, at the same time, I never really had a goal. I just like to do it. So that's kind of how I kept,
Yeah, you definitely like had a passion. You weren't really looking for like that cloud. You weren't looking for that money, or you were actually like, oh, I want to make it like so I can, get diamonds and get a
I mean,
car.
that I was always thinking that's fucking dope. I would love
that
to
would be the
pursue that, you
dream,
know.
yeah. But
But
you
I was
actually
just
enjoyed
like,
it.
yeah, and I was just like, it's cool to see my music get released. Like, I'm a guy that if I make a cool product or I make a cool song, why not share it to the world? And
Yeah.
if a record label can help me share it to people, I would
Mhm.
kind of just pursue that, you know.
Yeah, and I mean 2012, like that's still the early stages of like Instagram, you know, like I
Yeah,
feel like 2013 for
I
me.
didn't even know how to use Instagram at that point.
2013, that's for me when I
Yeah,
got my first iPhone, you know. Before that, it
yeah.
was the whole Nextel
Next to
vibes. Yeah, the
Same,
the
bro.
boost and all
The
that.
fucking brick phone.
And then I went to college in 2011, and then I got
Mhm.
a, just kind of a regular Samsung phone, and then after a year, I was like, I'm gonna get an iPhone.
Yeah,
But dude, that speaks highly of like the reach you got, because nowadays it's when you share a story or you distribute it through collabing with someone, like
yeah,
now it's like you get way more quicker exposure.
yeah,
Before, it was just actually like from producing and getting your name out there, going through different gigs, going
yeah.
to Tijuana, going to Chula Vista. And you actually, like, I mean, that speaks highly of you too, because like you actually, like, you were outspoken, you were out there, instead
Mhm.
of there's artists to artists who are very socially awkward and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
really about their craft, but it takes like their PR or someone else
Oh
to
yeah. I mean,
share their
I don't
music.
got. I mean, for me, it's just like fuck. I'm human, bro. Like, I'm just gonna do what I can with what
Yeah.
I got, and if I have something I want to release or say, I'll just do it because I don't really think too much about it, you know. And that's the thing. Like back in the day, it was cooler to do things like that
Mhm.
naturally, you know, just spontaneous.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool, and then like I said, that's been the kind of the trip and the journey I've been on, and
Yeah.
just the same thing over and over, signing with labels, meeting new artists, networking with these artists, and it's got me where I'm at today. So
That's awesome, man.
it's pretty cool, man.
But also, like, that's awesome that you are a human, like a people's person, because
Yeah,
a lot of people don't have those communication skills. And some people, like, they're really hard to talk to, or
yeah,
sometimes, the music scene, or for me, podcasts, like influencers or people I want to get into the pod, like, they just don't see
yeah.
enough clout on my
Oh, I hate
on
that
my
shit.
social media or
Well,
something. Like, if you don't have enough views, like, people are like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna
it's
talk
because
to you.
nowadays people think like they dehumanize themselves and they think of themselves as a product.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
of
they want to
course.
be like, oh, I need to make sure that like, but like, oh, like they see you like a business rather than the person, which is
Right.
kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And that's also what's wrong with so many things in the world today.
Mhm.
And it's creating a kind of opportunistic mindset where
Yeah.
people become like a toxic mindset of fucking other people over to get
course.
somewhere, or just using people, which is
Yeah.
horrible. Like
Yeah.
you can tell when it's an authentic fucking meeting somebody, when it's
Mhm.
authentic, vibe versus like, hey, like, let me see how much what can I get off you.
Yeah.
And that's something that's, if it's affecting the podcast, it affects the podcast world,
Yeah.
music world, it affects everything.
Yeah.
That's the world that we live in now.
Yeah.
People are always trying to see what they can get off another person, but
Yeah. No,
I
and
mean,
then
unfortunately, but I mean, there's still a lot of people that keep it real, which is cool.
yeah. No, at the end of the day, like, a lot of people, the majority are looking for that next pool that's gonna get them into that, that jump into the mainstream of people, but
Yeah,
some other people are just doing it genuinely from the heart. And just, like, honestly, for me, like, I don't care if you have 20 followers to
yeah.
100K followers. Like, I mean, hey, great, if you call up, like, I'm gonna shoot up maybe like 2,000 followers if you have 100K. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's dope, because I gets more exposure.
Yeah,
But at the same time, like, the main purpose of this podcast, and you even told me, like, once I met up, maybe, like, I want to say like 2 years ago, we're at Groundswell,
yeah,
and you were with your girlfriend. I was, I think, with Mario and
Yeah.
Alejandro, and you're like, dude, like, it's dope, dude. I listen to yours, and you just, like, talk, like,
Yeah.
you just shoot into shit, and honestly, like, that's what I want to bring to the table of, like, of the border, the
Yeah.
different stories, or different people that have challenges, or people that have success or failures. But some people that are gonna listen and be like, dude, like, well, maybe he started in high school and he's just, like, doing it for passion. Like, I like music too. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
shoot my shot. But that's the beauty of it, showing that even the most successful people that you probably met through DJing or artists, and that you talk to, like, one-on-one. I think I was seeing a picture that I think you went to Vegas with your family, and then you met a DJ is one of the producers, or you're like you talk to them for like 20 minutes and you
Oh
even
wait,
post.
yeah, Tom Morello,
Yeah,
Rage Against the
and
Machine,
you're
the
like, oh, it's
guitarist.
crazy, like how deep a conversation you get into 20 minutes into it, like
Yeah,
that kind of thing, like genuine conversations,
yeah,
like speaks highly,
of
like
course, yeah,
one time
because
I was with
people like fucking,
music.
yeah, you like talking to somebody with that is not looking for anything. They just
Yeah,
want to have a good time and
yeah,
talk to
you're not like,
somebody.
oh, where's the after at, or like, where are
Yeah,
we gonna go? And they're just
yeah,
like, you're so cute, and like, nah, bro, you're talking about real stuff.
yeah.
Like even shout out to Alex Busta Move,
Oh yeah, definitely my boy.
Currents. We were at a like after party after he played at Bang Bang.
Uh huh.
Remember that one time? Like I think it was like 2021
I think I
with
was
Roger.
out.
Oh yeah,
That
right
yeah, I
with
was out. I was. I think I had another gig
yeah. I
outside
think
of
it was with
town.
Junior Sanchez.
Junior Sanchez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
And Junior was there, like at Alex's
yeah.
parents' house.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I was talking to him for like 15 minutes,
Yeah,
and I mean,
super cool guy, man.
yeah, I'm not even a DJ or anything. Didn't even like. I think at the time I was about to start my podcast,
Uh huh.
but we just started talking about like how he like was producing with Daft Punk one time, and just
Damn.
like we were just shooting the shit. And I'm like, dude, like you're cool, man. Like at the same time, like
Yeah.
I've listened to your music, but like just talking one on one, like you're dope.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, yeah, man, it's just me. I got a family. I got to feed my kids, and
Yeah.
I work on music, which one of the biggest things I love
Of
besides my
course.
family. But I'm
Yeah.
like that's kind of like the conversation I want to get into.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good vibes attract good vibes, brother.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. But that's dope, man. That's dope how you kind of started through obviously like passion, and then after that, kind of once you started seeing that kind of shift or like that movement in 2012, where you're like, oh, like people are starting to recognize me. What were you doing at the time, like besides music?
I was just working.
Yeah,
I was
what were you
working
working
as
at?
I was actually working in an insurance company.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like claims and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it got me by, and at the same time, like it's a Monday to Friday gig, so it's like
Yeah.
I can do what I want to do on the weekends,
Yeah.
and that's all that, or after work too. That's what I prioritize
Mm-hmm.
because I still want to have time for myself. So
Yeah.
and that's the time I use to make music, to play gigs, and
Mhm.
continue with my passion, but at the same time making a living with something at least.
Right.
So yeah, during that time, that's what I was doing, and then I was in college too.
Mhm.
I dropped out, but yeah, because I was just like, I'm already making money in this
Yeah.
fucking place and making, and I just kind of created a career in like
Right.
health insurance stuff. But
Mhm.
it was cool. It was
At the
nice.
moment, got you by through
Yeah,
what were you doing?
exactly.
What you were doing.
Yeah,
Nice, man. So yeah, like then after college, you're still working on music.
yeah,
Still DJing, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And for example, like during that time, that kind of you already kind of was there at the time. Was that your name also, Jesus the Punk, or
yeah.
was
It's
there
always
another?
been Jesus.
It's always been. It's never
Yeah.
been like through stages where you.
I mean, I don't know. I'm fucking weird, man. Like that's actually my AOL screen name from like,
Oh
yeah,
shit.
when I was like in 4th or 2nd grade, and I just never changed it.
Uh-huh.
And like on MySpace Music, when I was fucking around making music as a
Yeah.
teenager, I had a MySpace Music account,
Mhm.
and I would upload the tracks I would make onto it. They sucked, right? But
Yeah.
I just kept with it. I just never changed it. I don't know why. I mean, I could have, and it would have been more. I guess I would have started like a new journey, but I was like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah,
I was
more
just
time, like a different tile, get more clicks, or like
yeah,
kind of.
nah,
But
I didn't see it to this day. I don't think of it like that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is me and my journey. If you want to fuck with it, you fuck with it. If
Yeah.
not, have a good time.
and were
doing
you into
something
like,
else.
were you ever into punk music or just kind of?
Yeah, I like everything. I mean, that's what
Okay.
I learned on drums. Like when I was playing drums,
Yeah.
like I started practicing with like fucking like pop punk and shit.
Yeah.
Like
What,
stuff
what what were your bands like
like
at the
fucking
time?
Blink is always easy to
182,
play.
of
I mean, not the
course.
easiest, but it was just like basic,
Melodic.
Yeah.
Easy
Uh,
to digest.
yeah, random shit to be
Mhm.
honest, but yeah, like for me that's how the Jesus of Punk came. My brother actually, I copied his screen name. His was Spiked Punk,
Okay.
so I just went with Jesus the Punk.
Yeah.
And then I just never changed it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, I've always like, I always had homies like, dude, like you should change your sound because your name, because it's like it's completely different. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, why am I gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. For
like,
sure.
I get it, like for like the clout nature of things nowadays, but it's like I don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
this is me. This is who you're gonna get. Boom. Take it or leave it.
No, definitely. And then I was also just reading some interviews that you had, and your whole trajectory, and then obviously you keep mentioning that obviously like the way you grew up in, through your culture, Latino culture, stuff like that, kind of didn't really shape the way you make music, but more about emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like how is it like when you make a track? Is it mostly when you have happy thoughts? Is it sometimes when you have dark moments? Is it just kind of varies like whenever you feel like it, or how is
Honestly,
it?
it just varies, bro.
Yeah.
Just varies. Like I feel like I'm a guy that sits down and I just like to fuck with the keyboard
Mm-hmm.
and I just jam around. And if it's like, I don't know, it's weird to describe. Like in a way, it's just like depends on my mindset. Like I can go make music somewhere and think I'm gonna finish this track.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to finish it, I'm like I'm not into it at all. And I end up starting something new based on the feeling that I'm in.
Okay.
So if I had like a long day, I'll feel like maybe I can just try fucking with some deep chords. And all right, then I got a cool little deep chord loop going on, like
Yeah.
and I'll add something else. I'm like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Then before you know it, I just made a whole fucking track. So it's like,
Yeah.
just like my mind just keeps on going at it, So yeah, when I say like I produce based off emotion, I guess you can say like it's a lot. I don't like showing up to the studio or just like to make music already with a game plan.
Yeah.
Um, I don't do that really. I like to fucking unless it's like a collaboration and I'm already know that that's what I'm gonna do with this
Got it.
person because we already our schedules don't work or something.
And you just have a set time.
Yeah, so I have to fuck. But when I'm alone making music, dude, that's just like whatever is in my vibe, in my mind, and it helps. It's a way like for me, it's like therapy, bro. That's the thing, like and it's so accessible now. You don't need a whole fucking, you don't need a whole band to do that shit to express or just jam. You just need a fucking laptop and the program. So
Definitely.
it's cool,
Yeah, man, and I also like was reading too about how sometimes like when you start, making a song, like you do like an entire track duration of playing the keyboards or throughout you could go through the drums.
Yeah.
And then while you're like kind of playing the drums, you kind of improvise or add like a little
another
noise.
That's like I think that's the best for me, at least it works because like I mean, I'll get like the fundamental of the track down, like the meat. I usually like call it the meat. So like the part that's going to be like, the main part, but that's what I'll start doing. But then I'll record like 5-minute fucking recordings of just like me playing the drums cause I feel like it gives it a more natural feeling. You know what I mean? Same with bass lines and like not everything is going to be like, on time, but that little swing makes a difference when you're listening to it. So I feel like it also lets you add more like feeling to the track. You know what I mean? Because most people just produce clips, like like a little 15-second clip and then just arrange, which you can do. Also, there's nothing wrong with that. But I like to make it. I feel like my style of music is definitely very emotion based. Yeah. So I try to just incorporate that a lot, and I just have a funner time recording for 5 minutes because I'm like, all right, it's not as boring as like listening to the same shit over and over. I'm fucking jamming with the track. I'm like, all right, this is sick. Like it's allowing me to fucking be
yourself,
authentic, bro. Fucking just see where things go. Sometimes I'll fuck up, but I can always quantize it. Sounds cool. I don't know, just it's fun.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, who would you say like at the like same kind of process that got you like stumbling upon GarageBand got you the same like with music, like when you're doing that kind of stuff, or did you actually see that from like a certain producer or someone?
That's how I learned how to use GarageBand. I didn't know how to do fucking. Like when I started making music with GarageBand, I didn't know how to like fucking do like clips. Even though now obviously it's so easy, you just fucking like trim it. But I used to do long, and I felt like that's the fun thing to do. So I just to this day that's the way I produce.
Also the producing,
everything is just cooler. Like I think it's just funner because it's kind of like I said, it's kind of boring just making clips and copying and pasting, and then I want to fucking jam the whole track if I could, and then it just allows me to add extra ingredients into it.
Yeah, man. Well, fun is a really important component into doing anything you do about life, not only just music or producing tracks, but just anything, man. Like even work, try to make it as fun as possible so time can go by a little quicker. Or maybe you really enjoy work and it's always fun, and you don't feel like work. So
time flies when you're having
just
fun.
Like you asked me, like, dude, how long have you been Ubering? I'm like, dude, honestly, like when I Uber, like it doesn't feel like a job because like. And you asked about Uber Eats or Uber, but I'm like, I prefer Ubering because I love talking to people and just like knowing where the next destination is going. Like, where are you going? Or where do you have your broken arm? Or
just like little small.
You just got out of the Super 8 motel. Where are you going? Or where are you coming from?
Who's the client? Nah,
no. Honestly, it's like I mean, if they shut up or like I don't want to talk about it, all right, that's where the conversation ends. But Hey man, sometimes I give him the podium, and while I'm driving too, like even today, like before he coming here, like I was talking to, they were going to the Padres game, and it was just from, like Mission Hills all the way down to Petco,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, how's you doing?" "Oh, I'm good, good, man. Probably your last, this last ride, because I got a podcast right now with a homie of
Okay.
mine, DJ." He's like, "Oh, cool, man. Are we being recorded right now?" And
Oh
and
shit!
I was
He's
just
like, you
like,
want to be
"No."
a guest too? Come
Yeah,
through.
it would be kind of interesting, but not at the same
Yeah.
time. No, I just like talking to people. But yeah, man, that's like coming back to what we're talking about, just like having fun, dude. Like just
Yeah.
anything you do, like even like you're the DJ, you're the one taking us through the path, through the journey of the night,
Yeah.
and us, like there's people around that just standing there and like kind of staring to the wall, and I'm just like, I like moving around people, and they're like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Dude, just dance, dude."
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
what
the number one thing, having fun, that's, not having a goal behind everything you do in a way.
exactly, man.
Because if you do that, you just set yourself up for failure and fucking disappointment. I feel, and I've been through that shit too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, I need to make this because I want a feeling for that, or
Yeah.
But it's always better just to let things run its course and flow.
Yeah, because
and have a good time while you do it.
Because you tend to focus just on the goal, like you're taking the fun out of it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everyone just like, oh, focus on the goal, and it's like
Nah.
you start sounding like a square, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude,
It's like a job. It becomes a job.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, it's kind of it becomes an obligation,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the same time, and that's where it kind of just fun flies out, and you start feeling like you're doing this kind of like Groundhog Day kind of vibe to it. But yeah, man, that's really really dope. Just like kind of seeing your journey and how you start to progress and learn from things. And then obviously like being at the border, just like getting the roots from here and then Tijuana or like Mexico. um just like some music, some songs that just started to see you like really I feel like once I started to follow you through like Instagram, like I started to feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like during the pandemic, I feel like you started invest more into like making your own tracks.
Yeah.
And something I really admire, like you would always record yourself like playing some drums or like making like more samples.
Yeah.
And you actually like record your own samples, right? You don't just
Yeah.
get like
So-
the common.
So I mean, during the pandemic, I was already making my own tracks, but during the pandemic, I was like, "Fuck, I have nothing else to really do."
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, "I'm gonna fucking." And how else can I get my music out?
Yeah.
I needed it. I was just like, I'm a put videos of making music, so like, at least it's something. Because to be honest, during the pandemic, I really thought that clubs weren't gonna come back at all. I didn't think anything was gonna come back. I didn't think the music industry was gonna come back.
Yeah.
I didn't think movie theaters are gonna come back. I thought it was just like, so it was still like, it's my way to show like, hey, I'm still making music, but at the same time I was like, hey, this is gonna be fun,
Yeah.
fun little video of me making jams. But I think, yeah, I mean, what else was I supposed to do? I got locked down and I made music.
Yeah.
I fucking made so much music. And that's the thing. A lot of people stopped making music, but I was like, why would you stop that? Like, I feel like if anything, during the pandemic, people need music still to get away from the fucking problems going on as a distraction. Why should people not enjoy new music? Because a lot of people were like, oh, I'm gonna release once it's over. I'm like, man, you don't know when this shit's gonna be over. So I released a lot of music during that pandemic. At the same time, I kind of regret it because I don't regret it, but I feel like people were focused more on like other things going on,
Eyes on you.
Politics and shit.
Yeah.
Like people weren't paying attention to music. They were paying attention to the fucking the
Whatever
COVID
the next
and
news. Yeah, the next news. Whatever they're gonna say. Is
the
back or
COVID,
not.
the fucking protests.
The
Like they weren't really the vaccine. They weren't listening. They weren't focusing on music. But I was still pumping music.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean, I was like, fuck. What else? Like I said, what else am I gonna do? But when that like do my passion.
Yeah.
If anything, I have more time to do it, which is
Yeah.
great. I kind of miss it sometimes, but I don't. It's like, like I miss the time I had making music. It was cool.
Yeah,
but-
it felt like you were kind of like trapped in like in a hamster wheel,
Exactly.
At the same time, it was.
But I had a blast
You
doing
kept-
music too.
Yeah, you were
It
making
kept me happy.
exercise. You
Yeah.
kept the mind like kind of
Yeah.
rolling around and also creating.
Yeah,
creating.
fuck. If I had stopped making music during the pandemic, I don't know where I'd fucking probably be depressed as hell. Dude. I would be bored as shit. I don't know what else I'd be doing. It was either, it was such a crazy time we lived through. But
Of course.
yeah, I did focus, and I feel like during that time I improved my sound a lot.
Yeah.
I started focusing more on like what can I improve. I kind of use it as a time to reflect on my journey as an artist, and also on what I can improve on style wise,
Mm-hmm.
mixing wise, making things sound crispier and
Yeah.
cleaner. Also being more patient, like it's I'm way as a process of music and coming back to projects one day
Mm-hmm.
to another, and I think during that time of the pandemic, I didn't stop being productive.
Right.
I was like, fuck no. If anything, I'm gonna use this as a time to revitalize myself. And
Yeah.
I think after the pandemic, that's why I started getting more support from bigger labels and
Mm.
the shit that I'm at now. So because
Yeah.
I literally a lot of stuff like I just didn't stop at all.
Yeah.
Like especially me, like I'm a guy that can't stop pumping stuff out, can't
Yeah.
stop making music, can't stop following what I want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, 100%. I got 100% invested in it.
Definitely. No, and especially like I feel like, I mean, from any creator, like the more content you make out, or like, the more content you upload and share to the world, like the more exposure you're gonna have, But
Yeah.
for people, from producers to DJs that want to get their names out there, and they have probably content, but like as you were mentioning, like different record labels that started to hit you up, like what is the strategy or thing that would help you like kind of expand yourself through, so you can get like kind of
Well,
heard.
during the pandemic, definitely those little videos I was making and making music, like,
Uh-huh.
because like I said, people stopped making music for some reason. I was like, motherfuckers. And then people started doing like the DJs streams started happening.
Yeah,
Now there's
yeah.
a lot of like
Yeah, with
DJs
like a
that,
little green screen in the background.
yeah,
And
but
just,
dude, now those fools are making livings and shit. It's kind of cool because they took advantage of the situation, which is,
yeah, they
they
got
didn't stop.
they built
Props
their
to them.
audience.
Yeah, they didn't stop being productive about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, I would say like after the pandemic, I already had a whole catalog ready to go. So I was like, yo, I'm fucking, let's see where this goes. And
Yeah.
people were like, holy shit, you have so much music. Well, I was like, yeah, this is fucking like 3 years of music of being locked in,
Yeah.
So then I got the residency at Bang Bang, which is cool. In 2021. 2021 is when like the pandemic's trying to,
It started to get
was
back.
it, or 2020? I
Yeah,
remember.
it was like 2021, like kind of
Yeah.
like by like around
Almost
March.
2022, because I
Yeah.
remember you still had to like eat food to like be somewhere.
Yeah,
It
or
was
you're
so
outside of
stupid.
it.
Yeah,
You can
like,
only take out.
yeah, like, or you have to like, in order to be somewhere, you have to keep on ordering food and you have to like put your mask back on to go to the bath. It's like, dude, how does that make sense? But
Yeah.
it was during that time. But yeah, then I got the residency, and a lot of that helped because of the releases I got onto, like basement discos and shit like that, like in Europe and stuff. So
And can you like talk more about that process, or like how that went into like getting
like how I got on
recognized to
those
Bang Bang, or
labels.
like to getting into.
Well, with the labels, like during the pandemic, I was just already making like, okay, this song fits this kind of style, and I've always been I'm a DJ, so I kind of knew what songs I was playing and what labels they were on, so I kind of did research on what songs were on what.
Yeah.
I started investigating, who does the bookings of the label, who does the A&R and all that shit. And then I just started collecting emails and like
Nice.
sending them out and like
Yeah.
professionally, like, hey, I'm an artist, blah blah, like this is my tracks and blah blah. Like I feel like you may consider it as a this demo, and then like obviously you got to do your research and make sure it fits the vibe of where you're sending it to. And then after that, I mean, after the pandemic kind of ended, like I saw that the club was reopening. And then I sent the page an email, and they're like, "Oh, dope! You're on this label, Basement Discos," and they're like, "Dude, we love that shit." And then they're like, "We want to book you with Neverdule, from I think he's from TJ too, right? Neverdule, yeah." And he's like, "We're doing a show because he's blowing up," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" And then that's how I got it.
That's awesome. Man.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Congrats. I mean, because all those things, like for you, it might be just like kind of those small wins.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
now
sorry.
you could talk about.
I forgot. Yeah, he was also on that label, Basement Disco. So it was like, yeah, that's what kind of helped both of us. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No, like I mean, for you in the moment right now, you're talking about it's like small wins because it got you to what you are doing right now. But in the beginning, you're just like, oh shit, dude. Like I mean,
yeah,
I know, like well now Bang Bang, they shut down, but now they reopened, and last weekend you
reopened the new club.
yeah, you reopened the club.
Yeah.
But just like those kind of like accomplishments like speak highly of you, because you keep on striving for more, like not kind of settling, just like I'm just gonna release one track too, and then.
But then like I don't like having like a plan either, I just if it works, if it doesn't, I'm gonna try something else. I'm just gonna get back on my horse and try again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like collecting Pokemon cards, like you want to get, it's addicting. It's
different
like,
different
like,
gyms, gyms.
Either clubs or getting on the label, like it's dope. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty sick.
And tell me more about how you got into I mean, I know in the beginning you were kind of like a warm up DJ. Like, how'd you get into warm up for Destructo, dude?
Oh, that was dude.
Because,
That's a while ago. I
but
mean,
I see.
fuck. How did that happen? I guess it's from the labels I was on too. Like
Uh-huh.
people, yeah, they fucking they're like, oh shit, this guy is on this label. Let's get him in there. And then yeah, it was cool.
What year was that? Do you remember? Like, kind of
2014, I think.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah, I think it was 2014.
even that, dude, because like I know that like at the time I went to hard.
I think I was barely 21 too.
I went to hard like 2012.
Yeah.
With Bernie, shout out Bernie, and Luis Rocha.
Yeah.
But
Damn,
dude, I know
haven't
that.
heard of that fool in a minute.
Yeah, dude. But Destructo was one of the guys who kind of like.
Well, I think he owns Hard Festival.
Hard.
Yeah,
So, like that kind of thing. You know, you could just like.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not showing up, but like it speaks highly of like, dude, I even warmed up for Destructo. You know, at the same time, like those kind of like moments, like in a way, like how you started to, you went through networking through Tijuana and just like going to La Sexta and, you know, San Diego through like party scene and all that. But, you know, those like little, I would say like 5-minute conversations, interactions, like that's where, you know, the whole thing can connect you to other people and just like, you know, you kind of like showcasing yourself. It's kind of sometimes like even showing your resume right quick. Hey, this is what I do. This is my record. That. And then, you know, you got their attention. And then from there, you keep on moving, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the way. You know, I like being a guy that kind of lets the music do the talking a lot. So, you know, if people acknowledge, you know, like, oh, I want to book this guy because he's on this label. Like, fuck yeah, it's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that Destructo show, man, like it was cool, you know. Like I said, it was when his track Higher came out, which I was really a fan of at the time.
Was it the one that Get Higher?
Yeah,
Get High.
I just like the bass line for that shit, you know. Yeah, and it had those like classic house synths, but
yeah,
it was more like on the electro side, you know. Electro was dope at that time, you know. Electro house. I hope it makes a comeback. But it was sick, you know. And they're technical. It's a very skilled like music, you know. But yeah, no, definitely it was amazing to be.
But and honestly, like when it comes to art, music, just like even, you know, like fashion, like it goes in full circles, you know. It eventually will start back into like electro house and
everything's a loop, no?
Yeah, dude, and just like even just life too, man. You go a little bit more deep, you know, with conspiracy and just like pandemics and the flu and
everything,
you know, vaccines and COVID and do that. Like it's like, dude, well, every world war it goes back and
it's kind of scary shit, man. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm just always tripping like, damn, we lived through this shit. It's some crazy shit.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But
that Destructor show was 2014 that you were talking about.
Yeah,
and, it was cool times, man.
That's awesome, man. That's so dope to hear. And obviously people weren't with us, you know, but before this podcast, we, you know, went to grab a little quick dinner, and we just stumbled upon this guy that had like a dog. It kind of was a mix of like some pit bull and just like a smaller dog or something. And then started talking about dogs. And, you know, I know that you're really big fond of, you know, your dog, your 13-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yeah, she just turned
Penny.
14 last week.
And I was even gonna, you know, show off, but at the same time, you know, we could talk about it that, you know, that your love is so big to your, you know, your animal, to your pet, that you made your own record label through Good Luck Penny Records.
Definitely, yeah.
How did that start?
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to, like, you know, that was when I started a label was in 2018. But besides that, before that, I always wanted to start my own label to kind of release my own music and release music I like, and not have to deal with the politics of another label running my music, and I get to control everything. And then, I mean, I already had, like, at that time, I had already had like the you know, how I talked about earlier that I networked with a lot of musicians on the same labels I was on.
Yeah,
I knew a base of musicians that were like-minded like me, who were down to support homies, and you know, from fucking Europe to even Japan, and everywhere. It was cool. So I was like, all right, I feel like I have, you know, and I have my own music too. And I just went ahead and, you know, started doing the whole label process, getting a distributor, you know, fucking working with like how I can release the music, you know, the contracts and all that. And I just needed the name. And at that time, Penny had like I guess she had never had she was never spayed, and and she had never had sex apparently, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
obviously, yeah. But
it's
I
brutal.
mean, I'm there with her all the time, so I guess when dogs don't get spayed or they never have babies and shit, their uterus can grow and rupture, and that happened to her.
Yeah.
And then that whole week, I was just like, fuck. I was already in the process of finishing up the label, and I was just like, man, like what's a good luck penny, like, you know, like, so she recovers kind of thing.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
kind of how I came up with the name. But
Yeah.
and the logo, I was like, it was literally like, I was just like, fuck, what can be the logo? And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, maybe like a shadow of her face, like, I'll be
Yeah.
sick. And then I hit up Alex What's the Move,
Yeah.
and I sent him the concept. I was like, but he cleaned it up and he made it doper. And I was like, dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude, the silhouette of
Yeah,
the penny,
yeah,
right? Just like a
yeah.
little
So
pink.
she got I took her here to the ER in San Diego because like I was walking her with my girl one day,
Yeah.
and then she just literally collapsed, like she couldn't walk anymore. And I was like, all right, something's wrong. At first I thought she was tired,
Yeah.
but then I saw she couldn't even move. And I took her to the ER, and they're like, dude, like, you need to take her.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to do this surgery right now, or else she's gonna die tomorrow.
Damn.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah. And then here in San Diego, you know, it's an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
They're like, it's gonna be like $5,000, or it was more. I forgot, like
Yeah.
it was 5 G's. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm already contemplating, like, damn, like, dude, like, I'm gonna have to put her down,
Yeah.
like, you know. And then
I think did you like you like informed everyone, right? Like through social media about.
I don't think
Or no?
not that time. No,
No?
that was recent. She had another situation recently.
Got it.
But I mean, I always post, like, you know, good vibes, like, wish her, because I'm a guy that thinks like energy goes a long way. I still think that, you know. Look, I have fucking holistic beads on my
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
But I'm a guy that thinks like good vibes are like, you know, like, an energy is like a real thing.
Most
So
definitely, man.
I always post like, hey, you know, have a fucking prayer for Penny, you know, send good vibes, like,
Yeah.
help her out, because yeah, it was sad. And then the emergency vet here was like, she's like, yeah, if you don't do the surgery right now, she's gonna die. She left me in the exam room, like, waiting, like, you know, for me to make up my mind. And
Yeah.
then she fucking comes back and she's like, or I can give her this medication that's gonna lower the swelling, but you need to take her tomorrow, like, somewhere.
Yeah.
So I took her to TJ. I mean, another perk of being a border
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
right? It's
border
way
kid.
cheaper, and they did the surgery
Same procedure.
for $400.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like I saved so much money, but they saved her life. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, and then that's at the same time when I was thinking of like the name, and that's how I came up with Good Luck Penny. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you kind of pulled a little Chance the Rapper vibe into like the record labels. You're just
yeah.
making your own thing.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
I mean, because before that, you were still you knew what it was part of being, you know, with the,
yeah, and then Penny is just like my dog Penny. Like, I've had her since I was 18 years old.
yeah.
Or 17 years old, and she's just been such a big part of my life. Like, I love her to death, man. She's like a little, like, dude, she's fucking crazy. Like, she's like a human.
Yeah.
She acts like a human.
Yeah.
She barks at me for food and shit. Like, she talks to me like barking wise.
Literally.
Her facial expression is like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
she just turned 14 last week, so
Yeah, no, especially
fucking
obviously,
amazing.
you know, coming from a great owner, you know, that takes
Yeah.
care of her, because
Oh, it's
that talks, you know,
Yeah.
highly of you. And even when it comes to, you know, we can not compare, or if you want to compare babies to dogs, but at the same time, like, she is kind of your daughter in a way,
yeah,
like, you know,
no,
you're
straight up,
tu
dude.
perrija, you know,
Yeah,
but at the
like,
same
she's my
time, it's
baby.
like you got to take care of her. And
Yeah.
I know, and I've seen even owners, like neighbors, that treat their dogs like they're just, you know, just slaves, or just people that or animals that are just like on the
like very old school fashion. Back when like dogs were just fucking like
yeah, they're-
security in a way. Like,
yeah,
like,
it's just like every time they bark, like someone's
yeah.
out there.
What's the
but-
word called? Like fucking like I don't know what the words, but yeah, like a security dog.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like just like outside and you're in mud, you know.
Yeah, especially at like the junkyards, you know, or like whenever there's someone
That's a
out
very
there,
like
it's
Mexican thing though, because
Yeah.
I remember my parents before, they were like, the dogs never come inside. Like,
Yeah.
it was always a thing. No, the dog can
Dude,
never come inside.
exactly,
The dog
like-
is this. The dog's a guard. That's the word, a guard dog.
a guard dog. Yeah.
That's what dogs were seen as.
Yeah.
But now people are more like
They
that.
humanize. Yeah,
And
they
also
put a
like it's
little-
not hard to see that a dog has emotion.
Yeah,
Dogs are smart. Their
Yeah.
dogs show feelings. Dogs show
Well,
pain. Dogs show love. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Especially like I always
every
I always-
animal does.
I always tell everyone, you know, like everyone when they put them in like a cage that's kind of like the dog's length.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, dude, you want to be in a smaller cell like worse than prison and just be there for like 8 hours? Like, let's see.
Up.
Once you come out, how your emotions are gonna be like how repressed or how resentful towards the people put you in there, you know.
I mean, if anything, that's the way to make like a fear-based dog that's gonna be like, totally, like, you know, like it's gonna treat you like a master rather than with love. So,
and even though, you know, just like, oh, like, you know, even like super bad like reference, like, hey, people don't forget, like, you know, just kind of like in middle school things, like dogs don't fucking forget, like when you don't feed them or when you don't take them out, dude, like he'll forget it tomorrow. It's like, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
They're all love, you know, and
that's awesome. Man.
Yeah, Penny, like I said, she got me out of a lot of dark places in life. Like, you know, she was always there for me. I mean, obviously she's my dog, but like, but just her way of loving is, you know, like dogs know when you're sad. Dogs know when you're in a good mood. Dogs can
they sense it. Sense it for sure, man. Even when you're sick, when you're just like kind of down, they go up to you and they cuddle with
you. They know what's up. Yeah. And I mean, I'm blessed to still have her to this day, you know, and I'm very grateful. And dude, like, it's crazy how fucking, like, she had a vestibular, it's like vertigo for dogs, but it was crazy. Like, I just got home one day and like she couldn't even walk, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what happened. I thought she was having a stroke, and then she ended up having vestibular syndrome. But dude, now she recovered completely. Like her head is still kind of crooked, like Stephen Hawking kind of thing. Horrible reference nowadays. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like crooked, but like sideways. she's good, you know. She's still full of love, and so that's how Good Luck Penny came about. And, and actually, like, this year, like, I kind of took the year off the label because I was focusing on a lot of shit on my own plate. You know, especially like the album that I released. But next year, I'm just gonna plan on releasing all my music on Good Luck Penny. That's it. And like, if a label wants to fuck with me or something, like they think that my songs can match their flow, like I'll fuck around. But I want to prioritize creating Good Luck Penny into like the next step. You know,
that's what's up.
I feel like
man.
I want to make it like the next iconic house music label.
Yeah, man.
So
just like anything can wait. You know, just kind of be patient on what you are achieving, where your goals at and what's your aims at, and
exactly.
And man, like it could just sit there a little bit and it could just, like, you know, go back into rhythm. But you know, that was easily great transition into what we're gonna talk about next. But you know, you know, the last I want to say month or so, like you released a new album, right? This is your first album. You released, like, I think it's like, how many tracks is it?
8 tracks.
8 tracks, right?
8 tracks.
It's called Summer Heartstrings.
Yeah.
Right. And how did it come about, man? How was it? Was it like before? Were you just like, it's gonna be an EP? It might be an album, or how?
Well, it's funny actually, because so basically the motivation behind making an album was probably like almost a year ago, and that was back to Bust a Move and Junior Sanchez. And fucking we had just played in LA, me and Alex. We did a back-to-back show at this club called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in I think it was Koreatown. It was a sick show. And then I was driving back, and then Junior Sanchez hits up Alex, and like we're just like, hey, Alex is like, hey, Jesus is here. And I'm driving, and then like he puts him on speaker, and we're all just vibing, you know, like for like 30 minutes. And then Junior's just like, bro, like you should make a fucking album. And I'm just like, you know, in my head, I'm like, you know, I feel like I already have like some tracks that I already had like the concept of the album I wanted to make. But I was just like, you know, Brobot's always been kind of a home to me, because I had already released like 4 EPs with Brobot, and they've always supported everything I do, you know. So I was like, you know, I feel like if there's a label that I need to release an album on, is one of the labels that give me the biggest opportunities in my career as well, because I feel like Brobot helped my music get in the right hands of a lot of good artists. Like, helped me get a lot of exposure, a lot of support. So I was like, Junior was like, he literally said like, dude, you need to make an album. I was like, oh, you know what? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking, you know, work on something. So the album already had like maybe like 3 tracks, kind of. I thought, like you said, I thought it was gonna be an EP, but I was like, you know what? These tracks are really dope. They're kind of summery vibes, chill vibes, and I just ended up, you know, focusing on that for like the whole year, literally, like finalizing those 3 tracks, and then just making more tracks, and then it's kind of funny because I was working on other things like collaborations. Like, you know, I had a collaboration with the homie named Jason, Teddy Wong, and I just kind of put everything on hold because I was like, you know, I need to, if I want to make an album, I want to focus on this and make it sound quality. You know what I mean? So I did go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, I mean, I just dedicated all my time to it the whole year. And now it's released.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a nice, like, you know, for me, I feel like house music doesn't always have to be club music or a banger. I feel like it was like something that you can, you know, listen to with your girl, you know, at a beach, at a fucking, you know, lounge. Like, I love that shit. I love mingling more than, like, you know, clubbing. I like to be able to listen to cool music and talk to cool people. So I kind of made an album based off that, you know what I mean? So that's what the album was. And Summer Heartstrings, you know, I was like, I told Bustin' like, what should we call it? And I was like, all right, I came up with a bunch of names. Alex was a big help with like the support of the album and like what we should do next. And then I mean, I was like, this is such a chill name. It's such a chill album. Like, you can play it. It's an album. I've always been inspired by like, you know, not to bring back, but like Daft Punk, you know, or Justice, like their albums are always like consecutive. Like, you press play and it's like you can listen to the whole thing. So that's kind of how I made. I wanted to make it a story, like, you know, like that's a chill vibe with its climax and this outro.
That's awesome, man.
That's kind of what I prioritize in it.
Well, and honestly, just like how like
or like Pink Floyd. Sorry, that's another Dark Side of the Moon, another good album, you know.
And just like, I mean, Junior Sanchez, as you know, speaks in volumes of what he has done, you know, producing and, you know, collaborating and just kind of like being under the radar, but just like not really like being on the mainstream, but just knowing the ins and outs of music. And just him kind of recommending you into that. Just making an album, because like an album is just an extension of everything that you've done.
Of course.
Because like, as you were mentioning, just like there's some people that just I just want banger after banger after banger, and just like for the clubs and just like, you know, from next showcase so everyone can hear my whole like hour set. But at the same time, like an album is just like all the emotions that going through the whole creation of the project, you know. And maybe, you know, even Daft Punk, even what's another one, like Pink Floyd, you know, there's like upbeat songs and then there's some like really emotional songs.
I mean, I feel like an album shouldn't just be a collective of random songs. They should be able to be kind of cohesive, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I focused on too.
Yeah, man. And you were mentioning about like, you know, that beach vibe. I was listening to Tender Love. Tender Love like was one of the most that kind of like got me, you know, out of the just like the typical 128 BPM, like boom boom. It was just like more just like you were like exploring with different sounds of it.
You know, that song is like over almost 3 years old, and then like I finished it for the album.
Nice,
because Yvonne and I, my girl, like, dude, we just jam and like we don't think of making music. Like, we're just like, hey, you want to fucking fuck around and see what we can make. And Tender Love, we started it, but it was kind of empty. You know, it was just like a chill indie electronic kind of pop song, which I loved, but I was just like, I don't know, you know, I don't know what, like for me, it's just like, fuck, I don't know any of those labels. I just fuck with like house music labels, you know? So that's the cool thing about Brobot. They're like, no, we dig it. But then I met this guy at a brewery in Chula Vista, Groundsville, where I'm always making music. And his name is Johan, and that fool is fucking amazing at guitar, dude. And then I showed him the track, and I'm like, yo, you wanna... Actually, we were making another song. We were gonna make another song, and then like at that same time, I brought him here, and I'm like, "Yo, you wanna just lay down like a guitar on this track?" And he's like, "Let me hear it." Literally one recording, and he fucking killed it. Yeah, it's fuck that good. That's how good this guy is.
Yeah, man.
Guitar,
Well, that's the beauty of music as well, man. It just connects you with people in the places that you would have least imagined to be. You know, you're just having a brew, just like working on your stuff, and then I probably like he's right next to you, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I don't know, like
that's how it happened. You know, I was always there making music, and that fool just one day come through, and he's like, "Yo, like we just started talking music, and we became homies," and they're like, "Yo, you want to fucking work on a track together?" Easy peasy, you know.
And I love like sorry, what's up?
No, I was like, that Tender Love is like the chill track, you know, but it's one of my favorites too.
No, and then right in the end I could hear like the little like sounds of the beach, like the waves and just crashing, and I was just like,
I mean, the whole track is a beach vibe, so I was like, we need to add some like, beach sound effects to the whole album, just to like remind like listeners like, okay, this is like the fucking setting of this shit, you know, like good vibes, you know, just like, you know, chill time.
Yeah, that made me want to call out for a whole week, man. Go to that
right.
fucking Baja, dude. I'm gonna buy a
Just playing that shit
Gonzaga or
on loop.
something. Yeah, dude, of course. And then
Yeah,
at the same time, I was just in the car, like going to cross to go to work, and it just kind of got me in a chill mood, and just
yeah,
kind of, you know, from like the hurry of getting on time, and maybe I was a little bit late here and there, but
yeah.
just kind of like ease my way through it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, you mentioned about your girlfriend Evo, and I know that she's been part of several tracks
Yeah.
into like her lyrics or her vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know, I mean, I've listened to it, and maybe people that haven't heard them, but hopefully they can go through Spotify or Bandcamp or whatever and just listen to her voice. How did that come with, like, obviously you started dating her, and then
yeah, we started dating, and then like fuck, I don't know, I just fucking random, like I think yeah, it was like she was like doing karaoke or something with the family. Like she has a lot of family in TJ, so
right.
I was like at one of the Christmas things. And then,
the typical, like,
and I always told her like,
till
dude,
6 a.m. singing.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, you have a fucking amazing voice. And then we fucked around, like, you know, like jamming, and then fuck, I forgot. I think Noche was one of the first songs we made and released. And then from there we just fucking a bunch. Dude, I can't believe how many songs we have together now. But yeah, we've been together for almost 8 years now. So, you know, it's cool that, you know, she kind of is down to just, because she never thought she was gonna be making music or releasing it. We just did it to fuck around. Even I did. I was like, we're gonna fuck around, but I was at the same time, I'm a guy that always like motivates.
Yeah, like
I'm always gonna be like, dude, if you have talent, like we can use this shit. Like we can make something dope out of this.
Yeah.
And then at first she didn't really understand it much, but then she was like, she started liking it. She's like, hell yeah, like my music's out, that's my voice. I'm like, yeah, bro, like
feels good,
you're fucking amazing,
feels beautiful.
So we just, you know, to this day we have like 4 tracks in the works, even more. We have like 6 tracks actually. It's crazy, but like but when I make music with her, like we have to be together.
Yeah,
like, we have to be in, like, from beginning to end to make it. I can't just be like, I made you this track. Nah, she needs to feel it. She needs to be a part of it, and I can't. She needs to vibe with it. Like I can't be like any other vocalist that's like, no, hey, this is the track I made.
Just
like,
sing these 3 phrases.
Nah,
and dip
she
out,
needs to. Yeah, like sometimes like when we make the house music tracks, because house music is like so formulaic. Like you kind of have to follow a format of like, okay, keep the vocals simple.
Yeah.
But I know she likes to be more expressive in her vocals, but
sure.
So she has a big input. But yeah, it's amazing, man. Like, and I wanted to feature her in the album too. So Tender Love was a perfect outro to it, I think. Like, because I didn't want to put it like in the beginning or in the middle, because I feel like it's gonna be like house and then go to chill and then come back to. No, I was like, this is like the fucking smooth, sexy outro that I wanted for the album. So.
Well, man, bro, honestly, like, I mean, I've only been in one like true love relationship. I ain't no love guru, but you know, teamwork, communication is key into love life, and then especially through art and through music, man. Like, if you guys could able to connect and just vibe, and she understands it and you understand it, and you give her space and she gives you your own space of truthing, like, bro, and then once she sees the outcome of it, and she falls in love with it.
Hell yeah,
bro! Like, why not do
people playing that shit? Like fucking that Flavor Trip couple started playing our music, or the Bust a Move remix. It was fucking dope. It's just you know, it's pretty cool. And she starts realizing, oh shit, like this is cool. You know?
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, at the same time, you know, like love, I feel like I never planned it. Everything me and Yvonne did was unplanned, dude. Literally, our relationship was unplanned. It just happened. Like, it was like we just vibed. It was cool. It was a cool fucking time of vibe, and you know, like it just flowed. We just flowed naturally. To this day, we're just flowing through life, and you know, it's pretty dope, man.
That's where it's at.
I'm really grateful to be in a relationship like that. To be honest, I think
shout out to her, man.
Hell yeah, I'm happy, and then shout out to her and her talent and her fucking
bro. And then honestly, like, even like, you know, obviously you work Monday through Friday, and you know, you get the dough, you get the bread to the home, and you know, you give her, you know, just go out for dinner here and there, but then at the same time she sees that creative side of you, and she supports it, you know.
I mean, she met me like when I was like, you know, like, well, when I was like single, obviously, like I'm always fucking like, I was more into music because I was like, I'm not saying like my relationship had any impact, but I was just like, that's all I really had to do. You know what I mean? Like that was my thing. So
it was just 24/7.
She saw like how fucking like locked in I was into this shit, and she was like, oh damn, that's dope. Like she always admired like like, you know, like having a passion.
Yeah,
And it
man.
was cool, man.
Yeah,
It's dope. And I'm glad that she's part of the journey. And now she's like, you know, even she tells me some days like, damn, like maybe we can, she's starting to look up some labels now. Like maybe
Yeah.
we can send that track that we had made to this label, or
Yeah.
at least give influence into
Yeah.
something and to a certain sound or whatever. And it's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Well, it's beautiful to see people like have a creative outlet on things, you know,
Yeah.
just like comes to music, when it comes to me, like a podcast, like just kind of mentioning, but just like my ex fell in love with, or like heard me through a podcast, and that's
Yeah.
where she was like, oh, dude, I like the way that guy's voice sounds and the way he thinks,
shit.
you know. And
Yeah.
but she mentioned to me that like 3 months in the relationship, because I was like, oh, like, you know, I met her at a like a music place, like a festival, Green Gods,
Yeah.
and Tijuana, and then from there, you know, 3 months later, she's like, actually, I heard you in one of the podcasts, like Fernie Nunez and yourself,
shit,
and I was like,
shout out Fernie.
but at the same time, it's just like people, not only girls, but just like people admire creative processes on people, you know. Just
Yeah.
like I always mention people that are just, you know, during their 9 to 5 job, and that's the only thing they do, go to bed and then go do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, dude, I always want to do this and that, and I'm just like, you're talking about it, you're mentioning it, it's in your mind, but just like, just get it out there, man.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
you never know who's gonna listen, you never know who's
Yeah.
gonna come to your event, or you're a comedian, you want to start a stand-up, dude.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Just do
Like,
it. Like, life's too short to just sit around,
dude,
bro.
knocking on wood,
And
dude.
then
Just like I
literally,
told
like everything's so fucking. There's always a way now. If anything, it's easier to get, you know, like
to get exposed.
It's
out
like
there,
it's
man.
The accessibility of things is amazing now.
But then people kind of get, you know, they like trip, or they kind of like go within their minds into like making an excuse of saying, no, I can't because like I'm already too old, or I have this and that. I'm like, yeah, this and that, but if you just do that, you might lose a little bit of whatever's going on in your comfort zone. But getting out of your comfort zone maybe is gonna help you out, like expand out there, and people might hit you up, you know.
Exactly.
Like come in your love life, or your work life, or expand into maybe.
I mean, it's just like, you know, things happen, man. Things happen when you put, you know, when you don't stop and, you know, you're just continuing things and stuff like that. But
of course, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Life comes at you when you least expect it.
Yeah, man. I saw a quote once, like through, I think it was like through Google, but just making decisions like in life. I think in a day you make more than, I think it's more than like 12,000 decisions. In the sense of, you just like when you wake up, you know, you just wake up, right? You're in bed. Like, are you gonna get out of bed? All right, that's one decision. 2, you know, you go to the bathroom, take a piss. that's 2.
Yeah.
You know, you wash your face. That's 3. Keep on moving. Go to work. Like, you know, you already added up more than 100 decisions in less than half a day.
Every little thing that you do.
But, you know, on the other side of things, like if you just wake up, check your phone. I'm not going to work. Stay home. Stay in bed.
Yeah.
All depressed. Nah, I don't want to go to work.
Yeah. Or just lazy as fuck.
Yeah. But, you know, unproductive. But at the same time, that's when I get to it. Like, if you don't move yourself, no one's going to move for you, you know.
Exactly.
On whatever you want to do. Want to strive for. Maybe go and do your first 5K. Or make your first track. Or, you know, meet someone.
It's like you never know unless you try. You know what I mean? Like, you always gotta, you know, just go for it and stop fearing what if I fail, and just fucking do it.
Exactly. And speaking of like making new tracks, like for you, for example, like how do you start your first track? How do you? I know that's through emotions, but like, what's your first step? You know.
Well, for me, like I usually like to start with a bass line or chords because I feel like.
Sorry to interrupt, but before you start with the chords line, like, what's your perfect setting? Like, is it a cup of coffee?
Oh,
maybe smoke.
I mean, like
maybe drink a beer.
Not always necessarily, because sometimes I just have like the urge to make music, or sometimes I just want to see what happens. But I mean, it depends, you know. Like for me, I like to make music a lot, like mobile, I guess you can say. Like I like going to like a brewery, you know, being comfortable, having like a drink, a nice cold beer, and I can just vibe. And like literally, I'll be there for like 2 hours. Just when before you know it, I have a whole concept. Or sometimes I come here to the studio and I'm just like, you know, it's weird to say what's my actual process, but if I do have something I go towards right away, it's either going to be the bass line or the chorus, because that's going to be the meat behind the song and what's going to actually show the emotion behind the track. It's my way of, like, I guess you can say like a mental template I have of making music is either starting with the main melody of the song or the bass line, because I feel like that's going to be like the fucking meat of the track, but I'm also going to be like, it's going to direct what my feeling is on the track. So if I'm feeling like moody or like sad, and like I feel like some deep chords are always gonna get me like, all right, damn, this feels like it's lifting my soul a bit. If I'm feeling more happy or upbeat, maybe I want to start with a funky bass line. I'll just start jamming, like tapping on the keyboard, and like, all right, this shit's gonna be a fucking groover or something. But I mean, it all depends on like I said, I don't have a set format of how I'm gonna start making it. It all back to the thing, it also depends on how I'm feeling. But if I had to make a mental template, it's either starting with the melody or the bass line. And a lot of people just start with the drums, but I feel like that limits you so much in music, because what if I make a dope melody, and what if I make drums that are just a house, but it's forcing me into that mindset.
Yeah.
So if I make a melody or a bass line first, I can turn that into so many things and so many different genres, rather than just sticking secluded to one format. So yeah, that's kind of how I start.
Nice. And then when do you know what a track is ready? Because obviously, each song, for as much as you might think, this needs a little bit more tweaking, and then once you tweak it a little bit more, you're like, shit, I kind of messed up. I should have left it on its own. But like, when do you think maybe it's that perfect time to kind of like let go?
I mean, I usually make multiple versions, so I have a kind of a format. I'll title them like version 1, version 2, but it's like everything is always adding, but it keeps me organized. I think that's key, that you need to be like fundamental of a musician, is being organized. So I try to just have everything, like I try not to rush it,
Yeah.
I give it multiple listens. I show people I trust. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this track? Any recommendations?
Nice.
You build your friends in the music industry that are like, okay, that they can give you proper tips. I'll show my girl. My girl's really good at giving feedback, because she's very picky on some things, but she also provides quality feedback. So I take a lot of her things into consideration. She'll be like, yo, it sounds too generic. And like, all right, you're right. You need to make something doper,
Yeah.
or add a more feeling to it, more flow. But yeah, I mean, that's usually it. And then once I feel like myself, like, okay, the mixing is good, the track, it sounds good, it's not repetitive, it has like it sounds quality, like I'll be like, all right, I'll start looking like how I said before, the labels I know based on the music I play, what style works with what. I'll start go ahead and figure out who I can send this to, and then they'll usually handle the mastering, and from there they'll start planning the release date, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
so it's
dude,
pretty cool.
I mean, I bet, because sometimes, like, I've talked to several like artists, through podcasts, or just heard through different interviews. And it's sometimes it's just like that. You never know when exactly is the time to just release it, but just kind of it just comes with it.
And it's always good to give it multiple listens with fresh ears, like taking breaks. Like I used to be a guy that didn't like to take breaks, but now I'm like, no, I think I can listen to this in 2 days after I made it, because it'll give me a new perspective, and like sometimes I like to drive with it. I'm like, you know what, this needs this needs that. I'll start getting more ideas on the go, things like that. And then I think patience, number one key, and that's something I learned in my whole journey as a musician. Because when I was younger, I had really zero to no patience. I just wanted to fucking, like, sometimes like I feel this song, release it, and I just went more on emotion, which is like something I still base my music on.
Yeah.
But then like I'm like, fuck, I don't know if that was a good idea, because like the quality of it wasn't the best, But now it's like I take more steps into that consideration, more patient with it. I give it multiple listens, a lot of fresh ears. Now I finish a track in a month or 2 weeks, or a year, a whole EP. It all depends.
No, well, that speaks also like in the level of maturity that you've become through the years of producing and growing up, and just kind of like knowing how life is, and then also just like the way music works and the industry.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you're like between 14 and 20 something years, 23, 24, you're just like out of impulse, it's just like very emotional. Everything's just
apart
like,
from that, everything is new. Like when I'm a teenager
yeah,
early 20s, like I don't know how the fucking music industry works. I'm just thinking like I want to get this shit out because it's dope for me, and I release it and I'm just like, fuck, it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, it should take a little bit while.
Hey, but at least that's part of being human. You gotta learn and grow from things. Otherwise, I'd still be a fucking idiot my whole life.
Exactly.
You always gotta reflect back and be able to improve yourself.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's something I live by to this day.
Yeah, man, and also talking more about like collaborations and maybe your first collaborations. I know that Currens, aka Alejandro Bustamante, that was part of my podcast, talked about his upbringings and stuff. I know you guys collaborated through an EP called Latin Touch.
Yeah.
That was actually, I want to say maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
No, that was 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So during the pandemic,
my bad.
Yeah, during the pandemic, Alex, did he move back? I think he moved back to, or I don't know.
Yeah, went back from LA to San Diego.
Yeah, and then like, we were just like we were always homies, but we never really made music together.
Yeah.
And then during the whole the pandemic, like I had this studio for a minute because before I had the lease to this studio, it was Late Night Jackin'.
Yeah,
I'm still on that label. They're still my boys, Paul Najera, Boys on Disco, and those guys ended up moving in together, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna dip the studio," and I was like, "Fuck, I love this spot because this spot is literally like 24/7 access." So I was like, and it's really reasonably cheap, to be honest. So I signed a lease for it, and then I had it as my other output during the pandemic. So in the pandemic, I wasn't just locked in home. I could have came here and make music. So during that time, me and Alex started hanging out more and making music, and we ended up we made we made like 4 EPs during that pandemic, and they were pretty dope, but we were just like, I feel like me and him were both in a lot of the same mindsets at the time, we were just both in a lot of the, we're just vibing, bro. It was cool. It was a cool time.
Of just having fun, during
the time. I was there, I was with that fool when he was like applying to like a job in LA.
New jobs, yeah,
and it was cool. I was always like, "Yo, we're here together making music." It was nice to have a homie like that during that time, and I'm pretty sure he understands this vibe too, because it was like we made so much tracks, and that's during that time there was nothing else to do but like hang out and make music. Like we would go to work, or I would go to work, and then because I never stopped working during the pandemic. Yeah, and to this day, like I'm still in healthcare, but I mean, it's fucking crazy shit that was going on, but. Yeah, I would come here and make beats with my boy, and it was sick, man. So
well, that's the beauty. I mean, it was a blessing and a curse of the pandemic, but at the same time, it got you to be more connected with the people that you were around with. In person, maybe 100%. Through phone or through FaceTime. But actually, just kind of like invest time into human interactions. Because just before that, you got your typical 9 to 5 job, 8 hours a day, and then I got no time to hang out. We can hang out next week, next month, et cetera, et cetera. But now it's just like when the world kind of paused for a little bit, so we just kind of like more like interacted into making being more creative through the music side. And
I mean, like we made so much music. We still have tracks to this day that we're not done yet. I'm just waiting on that fool to be like, yo, let's finish these.
Let's master this.
Like the ideas are there. We just gotta rework a lot of things. But man, it was cool. Like me and him started collaborating a lot. And, I mean, for me to collaborate, I feel like I gotta be on the same mindset. We both have to be on the same mindset, the same vibe. If I don't vibe with an artist, it's like it's not gonna be a good collaboration.
Well, in between, like in your vibes, like what do you look in a vibe of a certain person? Like,
not really looking in the certain person, but when I'm making music with somebody, like I want to make sure they participate. So for example, me and Alex, like I would do something, he would do something, I would do, like taking turns, it was a proper collaboration.
Of course.
Like there's motherfuckers that I've tried to make music with, and those fools are just like, "Yo, what sample packs you got?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm over here jamming on the keyboard, like," and that's like, I'm not about that. That fool is just, those fools are just, like, "Oh, let's drag this into the it's already made." I'm like, "Nah, I don't like that shit."
Yeah, just like the typical like school project where everyone's like, "All right, let's collaborate, let's work."
Yeah.
That one last kid that would be like, "just put the name on top, and I'm done.
Exactly.
And you're like, what's up? Where were you at? He's like, oh, I was sick, or
yeah,
like I
and
just
they just get the credit
hang
for
out,
it.
and get the credit. Yeah.
So I mean, for me back in the day, I used to be really nice, and I was like, oh yeah, let's hit the studio, and it was a lot of times it was just me making the track. And I got to the point where I was like, dude, why the fuck am I giving away my
Like
sound and my
time,
secret?
your energy too,
Yeah,
your
and it's like,
creativity.
no, like if I'm gonna make a collaboration with somebody, it's gotta be like equal,
Of course.
Because I didn't like my brother used to always tell me like, dude, like you give your secrets out in production, like, and a lot of people do it. I'm just like, I'm not a fan of that anymore because I'm just like, that's what makes you as an artist. That's what makes your sound. That's what makes you unique. So if I'm over here collabing with any motherfucker, like I'm putting my talent to waste, Like, I'd rather fucking never do that shit. It's like a magician never gives their secrets away.
Exactly. No, especially like not maybe like equal, because sometimes people can't really give like the equal energy because sometimes something happens here and there, but maybe like reciprocal, and just like something you give out, like they're gonna give out, and from there it's gonna weigh down and just be like, all right, like I see you and you see me through my perspective, and we understand each other, and then, maybe this can happen, because even like the most famous artists, just like one little sample, like just Migos, like one little boys had one noise that happened, and
guy,
they
the
just
Birdman, he just coos like a bird. Like, that's fucking,
yeah, just like those little things.
I wish, to be honest, not.
Or just like one little keynote on someone.
Millions for fucking one little sound.
I'm still saying, like, just some artists made the whole melody, made the whole like lyrics, and just one guy like made everything. one two note, and then that's how it became a banger.
And then they're like the biggest name on the song.
So but at the same time, it's just it just comes within each collab, but that's dope, man. That's really important.
I mean, you gotta take care. You gotta think of it too, like you gotta take care of your talent. You know what I mean? Because you don't want like 20 mid-Jesus of punks running around, like especially if you're trying to make a living off this shit. Like, you got to think about it like that too. Like if you already get to the point where you feel like you could, why would you be giving your sound and your secrets away to just everybody? I see some homies that sell their sounds and their sample packs, and like they're still DJing, which is cool, but at the same time I'm just like, yo bro, like I wouldn't do that unless I was a multi-millionaire, because like that's my whole life. Like I'm giving away my life to people for money, and fuck that shit.
No, but I mean that speaks also like really highly of you, like mentioning like where you actually are passionate for the music, passionate for the learning curve of things, and not just only you see the green, see the Benjamins, and it's just like, oh wow, that's what I'm aiming at, and not really care about relationships. You also got to be grateful from the journey that you kind of implemented or opened up through people and connections, and just like I feel like that, like being grateful like goes a long way, in any craft, and just like mentioning or just like kind of like, hey, just a little kudos on this person and this person, and the more you speak highly of people, the more leverage or more entrance you have into certain even subgenres of music,
Exactly.
Man.
I mean, you like this, you just you take care of the people that support you and love you, and you take care of yourself, and that's a fundamental key to everything, I feel.
Most definitely, man.
And
then when you explore like different sounds or like different music, because obviously you always want to keep on growing and just maybe expanding through different people or collabs, what do you look into that new like spectrum of music, like?
Shit, I don't know, man. Like for me, like it's hard to say, because like I feel like I don't really follow like what explore new sounds, just like I guess I'll get some influences here and now and then by songs I hear, and like because I mean at the same time when I DJ, like I am looking for new music that's not just mine. Like I want to support music I like, so sometimes I'll find some labels, homie will recommend a song or something, it's cool, it's just I guess it's venturing and see who you find. I guess you can find like the record labels you like or whatever and see their roster, and if you go through the catalog, you go through the artist catalog, you start figuring you might get influenced by something. So I mean that for me it's just like, okay, I like influences a lot. For me, I get a lot of influence from like just listening to music on the radio. 92.5, you brought it up earlier. I listen to a lot of that. 98.1 on the stations. Sometimes on 92.5 on Sundays when they do the fucking lowrider oldies. Like fuck yeah, those are some of the best samples I can find if I want to sample music. And when I try to sample, I don't try to make it super recognizable. I try to chop it to my style.
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds sick, but I mean, anything can be an influence, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's how it helps sometimes keep my sound fresh, just like finding new ways to chop other songs or finding new techniques of, making
Yeah.
music or buying new hardware,
Yeah.
buying new synthesizers, buying plugins, buying, upgrading as well. Not
sure.
just sticking to the same thing. I feel like I usually upgrade like something music wise, like, like a synthesizer
Yeah.
or a plugin or something, probably once a year because like, it makes your sound a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's the new evolution,
Of course.
But like I said, I'm a guy that works with what he's got, and I use that shit to like fucking till it dies out or something. I don't know. I'm fucking.
Yeah.
That's how I've been born and raised. Like working with what you got, using what you got, until this computer, man, is from 2015.
It's still there, man.
Yeah, and it's still there.
working.
It's kicking. Like the screen is. I have to replace it, but I didn't know that the MacBook screens, they don't make those anymore.
Yeah.
So I bought this shit on Craigslist. The screen alone, because my screen cracked. It was like 100. It was, if I wouldn't have bought it used, it would have been like $700. At that point, I was like, I should just bought a new MacBook.
Yeah.
But then I fucking I bought the screen. My homie Alex Wax was like, he's all fucking tech savvy and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, the screen showed up, and I don't know if you can see, but it looks like it's fucking like underwater or something. Like,
Yeah, on the sides.
Yeah, it was literally a used screen because they don't make these anymore. And then he just attached it, and he's like, "Yo, I'll give your computer 2 more years to live."
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'll focus on buying something new 2 more
man.
years after that.
Well, honestly, it works, and
It
if
works,
you weren't,
unless
if you
we
wouldn't
make
have
music.
if you would tell me anything about it, I would have just been like, oh
well,
yeah,
now
it's
you
another
see
laptop.
It's practically
Just needs a little bit of glade, a little.
yeah,
glass
but I mean,
removal.
if it gets the job done, that's all I care. But
Exactly.
yeah, later on, I'll fucking
Yeah,
upgrade. But
exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, I try not to evolve until like I feel like all right, I'm at that
It's
point.
time.
That it's time. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Either
man.
I'm forced into it, not forced into it. That sounds horrible to say. Either I just feel like
When you
okay,
feel the urge of it.
the urge. That's the word.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
No, definitely, man. That's dope, man. That's really sick. And then, I mean, obviously, like of the new sounds, you say you just kind of like vibe with different things that are already here. But would you say like your biggest influences are like when you started making music to
Fuck.
now? Maybe
I
like
don't-
top 2, top 3.
Shit, I don't even know, man. I'm a guy that people always ask me that shit, and I'm just like, it's
There's
hard
so
for me
many,
to.
dude.
It's harder for me to answer because I
Yeah.
don't really like. I'll get influences, right? But like, I don't really get. I wouldn't really necessarily like
Or
say
just subgenres, I would say.
subgenre or an
Yeah.
artist.
A subgenre, like maybe like disco. Or
I mean,
like,
yeah, like we already know disco. I guess jazz and disco would be
Yeah.
big influences in my music. I mean, if there's an artist, I would say I love Barry White. Fucking Barry
Ooh.
White's amazing, dude. If you even listen to, what's the name of his orchestra? The Love Orchestra or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, fucking amazing. Even without his vocal, like that's some fucking amazing artists.
When I
Isaac
turned 21, that's what my song was Barry White. Can't get in love with your
yeah,
love,
it's
baby.
such a good. Yeah, all the songs are bangers, dude. All the Barry White songs are bangers.
The whole Santa Cruz bowling line was all singing like a chorus while I was singing it. It was just like 5 of my homies behind me, just like everyone doing a dance. But dude, Barry White, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not just in him and the band and the flow. Isaac Hayes, another good one, I mean, electronic music wise, I feel like I don't know. I mean, fuck, like electronic music for me to make is just like, it's accessible to do, and
Yeah.
for me, it just comes from me, man. But like, I do get those little like, go to artists that I support and love, like
Of
Barry
course.
White and all that and stuff, and
Yeah.
go off that,
Yeah. Man.
fucking Chaka Khan and fucking Cheek and shit like that. Like I love all that stuff.
Yeah, and you went like a couple weeks ago. You went to Radies to a concert.
Oh
right?
yeah, I saw
And-
Cool in the Gang.
Dude, cool. I saw
Yeah.
that you went.
Cool in
and
the Gang and Sister Sledge, dude.
Dude, I saw
Fuck
the
yeah.
music and I was like, I'm super into like
Yeah.
80s music too. But I was like, dude,
Yeah, 70s,
known,
80s. Dude, those fools have been around since the 60s, bro.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is still on my bucket list, man.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing I started doing. I was like, I told my girl, I was like, yo, fuck seeing these new artists. Like, I want
Yeah.
to see these legends before they die.
Of course.
I even took her to an Iron Maiden concert. Am I the
Sick.
biggest fan? No, but I can say I saw Iron Maiden live now, and it was one of the best concerts I've been
It's
to.
one of the pioneers of just like I would say
Metal
like
music,
metal.
and shit.
Yeah,
And like, not just that, the stage production was wild. They had a fucking Satan come out of nowhere, and the
Well, the
fucking
gang. Dude,
you
Kool
know.
and
And
the
but
Gang,
Cool and
like,
the Gang was sick,
Earth,
bro.
Wind and
Like,
Fire, like
yeah.
disco, like from like before
Sister
House.
Sledge,
You know?
honestly, Sister Sledge was amazing, bro.
Yeah.
To be able to say I saw them live is fucking dope.
How was the vibe there? How was
It was,
like the
I
audience?
mean, it was a
just,
bunch
like,
of old people, yeah,
older,
but
like
it's like
kind
I
of
know
like
the song,
70s, like
yeah, like
60s.
60s and 70s, and like
That's
you know,
sick,
like
dude.
the fucking white borrachos, old you
Yeah.
know, motherfuckers.
Well, I feel
And
like honestly that's gonna be us, you know, as
yeah,
we progress into
music
keep on like
fanatics,
festivals and DJs and all that,
yeah,
and as much as you know some close homies that are not into, you know, expanding their music knowledge, they're still like, oh, you got stuck in high
yeah.
school, but it's like, bro, like it's
You have
not
to
my fault that you got caught with
open your
just
horizons,
yeah.
homie. You
It's not my
know.
fault you just caught with Luis Miguel and Bad Bunny and
Yeah,
you
oh
just
fuck,
don't
that
come out
sounds
of that, you
horrible.
know.
Yeah, I mean, at least you guys cool, but fuck,
It's awesome. Bad Bunny
yeah,
too, like at the moment, but
I
it's
know
just you know, there's way more outlets out there that
exactly.
might inspire
Might
you.
as well see the guys that started everything rather than the guys that are just thriving off it, you know, because these motherfuckers started all the music shit, you know, especially house music, disco house, all that shit. So it's cool to see living legends live, you know.
Exactly.
That's my honestly that's all I want to see concert wise. I don't want to see these new motherfuckers. Like I mean, even though I should,
Yeah.
I'd rather just see these old guys and then see the new motherfuckers later, you know.
Yeah. Of course, man.
Yeah.
And you know, just I mean, you know, and I know, and you're mentioning about it that you've been part of like kind of like the healthcare like claims, insurance, and all that. You've been kind of working like through your Monday through Friday, and you still kind of produce music and make music and DJ and this and that. And like how do you balance that out, man? Like how do you find that rhythm of life? Just someone that might be saying, dude, like how do you do so much? You know, there's people that just do one thing and then that's it. But
for me, honestly, like first of all, I'll say this: my job is really stressful because I'm like a care coordinator, referrals guy, and urgent care. So it's like everything is urgent, and I deal with patients like face to face. Yeah, and these people they're in an urgent care, so they're like fucking like you know they're desperate for health.
Yeah,
they're desperate to be seen by specialists. They're desperate to, you know, all these situations. So in a way, like it's a job that really does take a lot of energy from me, but I feel like music helps me balance because it allows me to decompress after long days. And so I'm kind of grateful for the job too. Right, apart from them, I do like helping people. That's the thing I just have naturally. I feel nice after helping people.
Yeah.
You know, you make a difference in their lives, and it's a lot of responsibility because, you know, these people come, like they find out they have cancer, and, you know, I see like they're fucking bleeding from their butt and shit. Like, you know, colon cancer, you know, they break their arms and shit, you know, crazy shit. Every day is a crazy situation. But you know, for me to be able to help them somehow, at least get them in the right direction, you know, is amazing. But at the same time, when I'm off the job, I feel like I'm able to just focus and express a lot of that energy that I feel stressed or like, you know, like people talk about the Sunday scaries, you know, when you have to go to work on Monday. I have that shit every day because every day I'm like, damn, this patient might come back the next day still requesting help, you know, because the healthcare system now is fucked, man. It's horrible. It's especially in the US is all the process. We were talking about how like the TJ thing, like, you know, it's much easier, but here, like, it's like they practically like I'm so just many
like filters.
It's a fucking mafia, bro. Like they want you to everything is microscopic, government ran, like just to see what's next, and they want to prescribe you shit to keep you on the same loop, you know. Everything is prior authorization. It sucks, bro. Like by the time you get things authorized and the time you get an appointment with a specialist, you might already be dead, you know what I mean? So I'm the guy that when I take care of patients, because that's my day job, you know, I'm a guy that cuts the bullshit and I get patients from point A to point B. And patients like that. Patients come look for me for that shit. Even if they're not my patient, they hear about me and they're like, yo, I want to talk to this guy. The doctors I work with know that. They're like, Jesus fucking will handle your shit, man. Like, so. But then, I mean, it does take a lot of energy out of me, a lot of, you know, but at the same time, I use that on music. So.
Yeah, it's just like kind of the yin and yang, and it's just kind of like. But and what is the place you work at? Is it like, can we say?
I mean, I wouldn't say where it's at, but it's an urgent care.
Urgent care.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's urgent care. You know.
Got it. Yeah, maybe they can just like DM you a little bit here.
I mean, I don't want people to know where I work, but yeah, like exactly
not in the place, but just kind of like some tips here and there.
Yeah, I mean, urgent care is all I would say, but it's, you know, it's busy.
But I mean, cool. I was gonna say like you could just connect with people, and then just kind of, you give them an ease, a calmness to it, so maybe
Yeah.
they could just.
I mean, I can give like like tips. Like I feel like right now probably going to urgent care is better than getting seen by your primary doctor nowadays, because at least you get seen right away and you get
Yeah.
to because nowadays everything is very referral based. So if most people go to see their doctor to get a referral to be seen for something. So if you want to bypass that shit, it's better to go to urgent care than wait 3 months to
Right.
your appointment with your primary doctor and
Yeah.
that gets seen. So
Yeah, man.
little things like that, help out a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think music, until I mean, I don't always want to be working in that. I do definitely want to prioritize my life as a musician.
Yeah.
But I mean, until then, I'm still hustling, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta pay the bills always.
course.
Music pays too, but it's not always bad having money for sure. A secure line of money always.
Of course, man. You gotta have a little cushion.
I think the pandemic showed us that the entertainment industry can just die out.
Mhm.
Literally one day to another. That's literally what happened. So
Yeah,
it's always good to at least have a safety back.
of course, man. You gotta find that cushion into like, like expressing your art form in the way
Yeah.
that you wanna, the people to see you.
Exactly.
So that's why I always mention everyone, that are probably seeing right now or hearing it, but just like, dude, like whatever, you might have a little bit of like, back in high school, back in college, I used to do this and that. I used to act. I used to draw. I used to take pictures.
Keep
It
at
takes
it.
it takes like 20 minutes to an hour of your day, compared to while you're like an hour, 2 hours of watching House of Dragon or
fuck that shit.
a new.
I don't watch any of the. I don't
It's
watch,
good.
dude. It's funny because my girl's always like, "You never watch series."
Uh-huh.
I hate watching series. I'd rather watch. I'm a movie guy because I get it over with in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think time is valuable. So that's my thing. But it's also like I'm kind of crazy in that aspect.
Of course.
But like for me, it's like I'd rather. That's another thing why we were talking about YouTube earlier.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch YouTube and just have it on the background and watch with subtitles and make music at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm killing fucking two birds with one stone.
Yeah. No.
But I mean, I should. It's also important to relax, and like know these things and shit like that. But
Most definitely, man.
yeah. So I mean, I guess in the way of how you said, like like be productive rather than just spend a whole hour. It's like if you think about it, people spend 8 hours watching a whole fucking series in
That's
one
what I'm
day.
saying.
You can do so much more. But
or just like even like a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute walk.
A little break.
Some people are just like, dude, how do you handle stress?
Yeah.
Like, dude, go for a walk, go to the park, go come
and
back.
And you asked me to balance my work. That's balance is important. Being able to balance. For me, I try to balance my family, my girlfriend, my dogs, my work life, my fucking music life, my DJ gigs, my finances, my everything. Balance is key to fucking being able to be like be something in life. I feel and it develops personality. It develops, you're a little bit of everything with that, not just like, I'm gonna do this and that's it, kind of. I don't know. It's just
definitely, man.
Yeah.
No, you speak highly about that, and it definitely makes sense because sometimes we tend to like fall off the grid and just like go on one side and just like, just work 24/7, 24/7, and then you're getting money, but then at the same time, like, where are my homies at? Like, where's my family? Like,
you lose aspects.
I missed my homie's birthday. I missed this event, this and that. And maybe
those things are irreplaceable.
Short term, it was important that you seal the deal, but then in the long term, maybe 10 to 15 years, people are not gonna forget you.
Hey, at the end of the day, money comes and goes. Like if you gotta prioritize work for things, like you always should keep in mind that money comes and goes, and sometimes being around for family or friends is more important.
You gotta find that balance, brother. You gotta find that balance in life. Just like, I mean, maybe some people know, and you probably haven't heard this much in English, and maybe the people that know, I went through like a, big trauma where I almost like, passed away and like running a half marathon, and then, my mind went on top of my body and my body shut down because I was, I had diarrhea for like 3 times before the run, and then I got dehydrated. I had a heat stroke and all this stuff.
Jeez.
But you could definitely tell, like knocking on wood, I'm still here, just coming back to life and telling that story where I got a heat stroke, I had a dehydrated, I got hepatitis B, where I got inflamed all my organs, and I was, on a medical leave for 3 months in my house, just recovering and all that.
Yeah.
So just listen to your body, man.
Yeah.
Out
That
of
too.
everything that you do, like when it comes to creative, through music, through art, to work, to exercise, to
Mm-hmm.
relationships, sometimes they can even cause you anxiety and just high stress. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, like if you feel that in your body and it's not really going towards, your mental health or your physical health, like, and there's times that you need to pause yourself, and at the same time, like, you got to find that balance on whatever you do.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't find that balance, and then that's what happened. But nowadays it's just like, all right, am I hydrated today? Did I drink water in the morning? Did I drink water in the evening? Oh no, I just drank coffee, dude. Coffee is good. Coffee is good. Good. You get a good high, get a good kick out of caffeine. But then
Yeah.
at the same time, it's hot today. You didn't drink any water.
Yeah.
You definitely probably need like two or three
Those
cups of
little things
water.
matter, right? Like,
Yeah, man. And then sometimes, even a balanced diet. But we can go on a long way about health, but also just finding that balance, because once you find that balance, you can implement it on creativity, and just
yeah.
it expands your creativity. And then some people might say, hey, well, through substances or alcohol, it expands your creativity and just like make
Yeah.
music. But hey, that's not it. That's
Yeah.
just a little adding, a little bonus factor to things.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
as you're mentioning, as it was like just like, through emotion, that's where you kind of get your groove
Yeah.
on, and that's where like everything is born from.
Exactly.
That's how you met your girlfriend, that's how you made friendships, that's how you
Yeah.
connected with people, just through emotion. If you had uh what's the word, just like a feeling, like a vibe, or you're just like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna connect with this person,
You just naturally feel it.
and
It's
that's
not
how you,
forced. It's just it comes and goes. It comes and it happens.
and how you were mentioning, like collabs, when you
Yeah.
collab with people, that's how you like, oh,
Yeah.
if they're reciprocate to what we do, that's where it's
Yeah.
at, man.
It's like us right now, just vibing, talking. Like if this is a vibe.
Yeah,
There
man,
you
of
go.
course,
Like
man.
so it's
Maybe in
like
the 5-10 minutes in the podcast, and we're just like, dude, like,
yeah.
this is kind of weird. Or, like, I don't know
Nah,
what
it's
to
like
say.
it's been a good vibe.
Yeah, there's
But
people.
no, if there's people that's been fucking
There's people that
weird,
close
it's like
off, like,
yeah,
like
it's
in a
like oh
conversation.
yeah, your
Just
time's over,
like,
bro.
no, dude. A lot of people, like, we can talk about it. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to start a podcast, and I'm like, cool. Like, can you make a conversation more than 5 minutes with
Yeah,
someone? And they're like, oh yeah, and then you just talk to
yeah.
them for like 1 minute, and then they just got
They just don't know what
no
the fuck they're
topic
saying,
of conversation. It's like, oh, like,
and it just creates awkward silence.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. So it's
I
just
can
like,
imagine. That's just fucking weird.
yeah, and some people are just like, no, dude. Like, some people are like, hey, no, I admire your craft, man.
Yeah,
It's not a uh an easy thing, but at the same time, like, for me, I really enjoy, like, having these kind of conversations, and people that might hear, might listen to this, like, that might get inspired of what you're saying,
definitely.
dude.
Yeah,
And obviously, growing at a in the border, where just like, a lot of people, like,
there's a lot of opportunities in the border town, bro. A lot of
dude,
opportunities.
on
Like,
both sides, yeah.
how we spoke. Like, I feel like my music career wouldn't have, how you said, kicked off without being in a border town.
Yeah, man. Of
Because
course.
like I had the opportunity to play in TJ,
Yeah.
underage, and it's like I took an opportunity when
Took
I
those
had it.
risks. You took
Yeah,
the
you took the
risks.
risk. That's all about life, take the risks,
Risk
you
and
gotta,
reward, man.
yeah, hell
Speak
yeah.
slightly, man. No, that's why literally, like, I invited you to, because in the beginning, of my whole project, I had some people on my list, but like, whenever, like, I bump into you, or like, you probably like something or share something, or maybe like we talked about something,
Yeah,
you're definitely on my list. And today I'm really grateful that you were able to, share your space with
hell yeah.
in your studio with me. And sometimes you'd be like, oh, dude, well, Tijuana, like, I'd be dope, but then something came
Yeah,
about. But I'm really glad that we came
yeah,
and
we
just
made it
kind of
happen, bro.
set up a
Honestly,
little studio here.
no, and that too. That's another thing. My fucking passport expired, so I need
Oh,
to.
damn,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't fucking get
No,
it, bro.
obviously,
So
yeah,
it's like,
please don't do that, because
yeah,
you
I know.
probably wouldn't be back here.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a U.S. citizen, but
But
it's like
still, it would have
fucking.
been a long
It would have hassle.
process of
Yeah,
you getting over here.
yeah, and I still need to fix that shit. So I'm just been fucking
Yeah,
lagging.
man. No, but totally, man. And really appreciate you, man. And also, like, once, I started seeing your growth, and then keep on, like, collaborating and support. And dude, I mean, we could talk about it really quick, but remember the
Oh yeah,
Tansen events that you would do
yeah.
at Groundswell Brewing?
That was cool. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like me, and that was with Charlie and
And
Left
Chula
Hook.
Vista, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we just came with the concept of like,
Yeah.
yo, why you know, for me, I'm a guy. I'm always a guy that's like, I can be at a cool spot, cool bar, whatever, and I'm like, yo, this can be a cool concept or
Yeah.
something, and I just go for it. You know, you can always just hit out the fucking owner or something,
Yeah.
and that's how this can work. And you gotta like move back. You gotta take risks, you know,
Yeah.
but you also gotta know your worth and what you can do.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want to push yourself above what you can do, and until you get to the point where you're at. You know what I mean? Like everything is a process, and patience is key, man.
Yeah, man. And Tunson was a really fun time. I think I went twice or 3 times.
Yeah,
and
we did 5 events.
Yeah, and you were
Yeah.
playing there and just showing support, but at the same time, even do I mean recipes. But Ray was one of the bartenders there. He was one. He went to my high school, man.
Oh wow, I didn't
Yeah,
know
a
that.
year older than-
I met him there at the brewery actually,
Yeah,
and he just
man.
knew everybody I knew in Chula Vista too. So I was like,
No,
oh,
he
that's
was a
sick.
popular dude, man.
No,
Honestly,
yeah,
like, he was always
honestly, shout out to Ray.
yeah, high vibes. Like he was
Yeah.
always like on top of the party.
Every year they do at the brewery there. They do the day he passed. They do the. I guess he had a beer he was making or something,
Yeah.
and they released it, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
every year they
That's what
do
I
a
heard.
celebration. So
Yeah,
no,
man.
definitely. Hey, actually, if it wasn't for him, I would never do the Tenzin events because he hooked me up
Yeah.
with like the owner, and like, you know, he was that kind of guy that just, you know, hey, I have a homie that can do this, and he just hooked it up. But yeah, rest in peace to
Yeah.
my brother Ray, man.
No, dude, I remember him because like he was a year older than me, and we went to the same elementary school, middle
Yeah.
school, like at Joseph Casillas Rancho and then Alta
Yeah.
Ranch. But that's what it's all about, man. He was always had a big smile on his face, always down to party, always
Good
down
vibes,
to,
always.
yeah, man.
No, just like he's good, genuine vibes that wanted to help his friends.
Yeah.
You know, he helped me out. He helped, in the way I was kind of a stranger, but I was going there to make music, and I just met him one day, and he's like, "Hey, what are you working on?" And I'm just like, "Yo, I'm making beats." He's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I actually want to do some day parties here," and
Hell
that's
yeah.
how it came about. So
Yeah, man, and they were fun, man. They were
Yeah.
really fun. I was really bummed out because like the last ones they were like 2019, and then the pandemic happened, and then
fucked
that's
everything
when
up. Yeah,
it messed everything up. But
we
I'm pretty
tried
sure that-
doing them in 2021, but
Yeah.
it was just like frowned upon to do events because of fucking COVID vaccine.
Yeah, and it
Like,
was
I remember because I had stopped doing events, but I helped my friend Rebecca. She wanted a spot to do events. I was like, hey, I know this spot,
Yeah,
but we like it's not Tanzan. We had to change the name, so we made Move District,
yeah,
and we were like contemplating how do we promote this because
Yeah.
I remember people were doing events and they were getting like canceled, like by the public because how are you doing gatherings on the flyers? It's like, motherfucker, like
they would see you in a weird way, like
yeah,
you're a
so we're on
freak.
the flyer. We're like, okay, vaccine mandated, and then like
Yeah.
people started talking shit. So I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I don't want to do events anymore.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, it was just kind
it's
of
too
a
much
big
on
like
my plate. I can't satisfy everybody.
taking sides, and if
Yeah.
you did this, you would be on the other
It's
side
fucking
forever.
dumb. That's the thing. You know, it's a scary situation, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just done. But yeah, man, no, honestly,
dope.
I'm very grateful for you always,
Yeah,
man,
dude.
and you know, you're an amazing homie, bro.
of course, man.
Honestly,
yeah, man,
fucking-
we're always fucking here.
Hell
dude,
yeah,
just
bro.
like providing support to show
Yeah.
the local talent, and not only DJs but just people that I really fond of, like from the heart that are doing something that I could see that fire passion in them. Like when it comes to, you can be baking cookies to being a DJ to
Yeah.
cutting my hair, man. Like I
Something,
invited
man.
my barber
Hell
from
yeah.
Tijuana, like his whole trajectory from Acapulco, Michoacan, getting up here, and
Yeah.
some people might make fun of it, but at the same time,
Ah,
just
that's
like
interesting.
it's an
You always
interesting
only hear
story, man.
even the smallest thing is a fun journey.
Bro,
You
even-
never know.
I mean, that's as much as I would have invite people just up in the corner, man. You can meet up a
Fucking
really
taco
interesting
guy. I just can't.
dude. Honestly, just
how'd you
you
learn the technique of making a taco? So
you could just like really learn a lot about someone, man.
yeah,
But that's what the beauty of the podcast, the platform of this, that we can actually provide, and not just like cut and we're going to commercials and then
Yeah.
like not hear your full story, man.
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's pretty dope that you're able to share your story a little bit more and
oh
of
yeah,
who
dude.
Jesus the Punk is, and hopefully maybe in 6 months or a year, we can just like
Hell
come
yeah,
back
bro.
and
Down
do a
to
second
sell.
episode and then see where you're at,
Let's
maybe
do it.
where the project is at.
Yeah. Or just or just fucking talking shit.
Shoot the
Really
shit.
cool. Hell yeah, I'm always down for that.
Yeah, dude. I
Just kick
know
it.
that you're really outspoken person, like speak like through social media, and I know
Yeah.
that you love to prove your point or give an opinion out. So that's why I'm always looking forward to people like that. Just people
Yeah.
that in the sense like they're not just chasing everyone, just being like a sheep, but just actually someone that's like, dude, well, I do this because like as this is my passion, this is what
Yeah.
I think, this is what I do, blah blah blah. But yeah, man, that's pretty dope. And just kind of like a couple questions to just wrap up this
Yeah.
episode. You being a border kid and just being influenced through being here, living here. How would you describe growing up in a border to someone that's never been in Tijuana, San Diego border?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned before, I feel like you were gonna experience a lot of multicultural differences and inspirations as well.
Yeah.
Even being food wise, language wise, music wise. It's honestly it offers a lot of opportunities for yourself to grow as a human. So I mean, people who may live in the Live West and have no idea how
Yeah.
the how border life works here, like it's definitely I'd recommend traveling to San Diego, Tijuana. Having a whole day of going, just having a good time, knowing the culture, recognizing locations. You're trying to you can travel to Valle de Guadalupe kind of thing. At least knowing the culture that people have here, and also the culinary, the what's it called, like artesanal, like
The
the
craft
wineries
beer.
and shit. Yeah, there's so much fucking amazing food, drinks, and everything. But the music scene is always really talented. There's so many people from TJ and Baja that are coming up on music, and a lot of them are also border kids.
Yeah.
So it's just like don't sleep on the chance to be able to explore a city on the front of the United States that you can literally travel in a day back and forth.
Exactly.
I feel like people gotta be more open with that. So I mean, that was a question, right? Like,
Yeah, of course. No,
like, did I answer it, or
no,
did I
it's
just go
beautiful,
around?
man. It's just like a lot of people can't see the beauty of the
Yeah.
border, unfortunately, because of there's so many segments
It's
or
a-
just like segues to talk bad.
It's an
through
opportunity
the
to,
mass media.
experience beauty
Yeah.
in what's so close to the San Diego and vice
Yeah.
versa, the TJ, and just know how things work, and not just the beauty, but also you can see the the real
Yeah.
situations going on with the
course.
border and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody is privileged to be able to do this, so you get a sense of reality. You get a reality check of what you have in life if you're from American, and you're born in America, of what privileges you have compared to other people that are struggling and dying to get to the United States. So
It's definitely, man.
and it's a proper wake up call.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I remember where I had to drive down Phil Weeks. He's from France.
Yeah.
And I took him to Ensenada.
Oh, and the who's who.
Yeah, when I
event?
had the residency with
Yeah.
Who's Who in 2018 in Valle de Guadalupe,
Yeah.
and he was like, "What? This border, they just built it, like the fence." And then he's like, "Oh, did Trump build that fence?" And I'm like, "Nah, fool, that shit's been there since the '80s." Like, what? I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like this shit's been like like
Yeah.
forever." And I don't know what the fucking exact year, but it's been
Yeah.
forever. He didn't know about that shit. He thought it was just like that was built like in that time frame. Like, no, bro,
Yeah.
like this is like how the U.S. is like like
Separated.
he got a sense of reality.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because I crossed him back. I was gonna cross him back, and that fool wanted to cross like 4 joints back.
Oh.
And I'm like, bro,
You're like, nah, you
don't
gotta-
do that
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like, and he was like, why? Isn't it legal in Cali? And I'm like, don't do it. And I told him straight up, I'm like, bro, I don't want you to ruin your whole artist career
Of course.
because you think you can just cross weed because it's legal in California. You
Yeah.
don't understand how it works.
Yeah, you're not a lawyer. Plus, you're
Yeah,
not
no, and that
a
fool, like,
border
yeah.
connoisseur.
No, and I told that fool, like, I told my girl, yo, can you cross with him on foot and just keep an eye on him? Because
Yeah.
I know I think he knows what the fuck
yeah,
he's doing.
it might be a venturous time
Yeah.
into his mind.
Yeah, and then he saw the dogs, and he
Yeah.
like, and then like I guess he threw the joints in the trash can before crossing.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like when I picked him up, he was like, "Fuck, Jesus, you're right." And I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker, I told you, like it's not fucking. There's
Yeah.
no games here, dude. Here, like you lose
Still
everything."
acknowledge
bro.
I'm a right. Like compared, like I grew up here. Compared to
Yeah.
you, like you're from France and you've never
Yeah,
been here. Like
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
no, things don't work that way. It's
Yeah.
like here's like a fucking strict process,
Yeah.
So like I said, you see the beauty, but you also see like, like
the disaster.
not saying like that's a disaster because you're crossing weed over, but it's
No,
just
but
like you should know
it's-
like it's like how
you can
strict it
see
is,
it
like
could probably
it can ruin
possibly
your life.
wreck the whole. the
yeah,
whole
imagine
life.
his career gets ruined because he crossed the border because of me. I'm like, nah, hell no. But
Well, just how it happened. Just
Right,
how it
for
happened
him.
over there in Russia, right? With that basketball
oh
player,
yeah,
that
yeah,
lady,
exactly,
that girl.
yeah. Yeah,
Like got caught with a vape pen or
the
something.
vape pen, and then it's you got to know what you're getting into. You can't just think because you're somebody you're gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah, and anywhere I go, it's just gonna be okay.
Yeah. So I mean, even the people at the highest profiles or known profiles, they need to get a reality check sometimes. So,
of course, man.
So it's good to go to the border at least to understand the reality of things. Yeah,
grasp the whole perception of the real
and
border.
it's we can go into more into detail. Yeah, that's for another episode.
Yeah, of course. No.
We can talk for another 3 hours.
Nah, it's really important though. That's why I want to share over to the people, and whoever listens to this or watches this is like pretty valuable information. But yeah, man. And then just one more question before we wrap it up. Any I know that future projects you want to collaborate and like produce and release more songs through Good Luck Penny Records, but any other than that, you got any shows maybe possible?
Well, right now I'm just focusing on finishing projects, like production projects.
Yeah, I
feel like right now I'm at a point where I just I finalized a lot of things that I had pending, so it was cool. Right now I'm working on the 4 tracks with Rebecca. I just don't know what we're gonna do with them.
Yeah,
gigs come and go. I mean, honestly, like I'll just get hit up for a gig, and I've been blessed to play like 3 times a month, every month for the last fucking 5 years or so.
Yeah,
which is great. But for me, I'm just taking life as it goes. So and besides that, Good Luck Penny, I'm just focusing on revitalizing the label.
Yeah,
I want to make it more of my own music, and also just focus on more physical things, if I can afford it, because it's expensive, man. Vinyl is expensive, pricing that shit. It's like, but if anything, you can always, people can always first follow me and shit, and they'll see what my next journey is.
Yeah, man. And following you, how can we follow you through Facebook, Instagram?
I mean, Instagram is probably the best thing right now. I mean, I don't really use Facebook anymore, but JESUSDAPNK, it's how it is. And Spotify, Instagram, Beatport, TrackSource. You can help me. You can buy the music on Beatport and TrackSource or Bandcamp. All of my things are just JESUSDAPNK. So anything you want to look me up on is that.
But yeah, man. Well, that's beautiful, man. Beautiful of you, sharing to the world, the way you perceive maybe, certain situations in life, emotions, but you were able to portray it through music. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons I invited you here. And thank you so much, dude, for sharing your story. Worries, and yeah, man, everyone that knows me or hasn't met me yet, you guys can follow me through El border. It's just the border cross, San Diego, Tijuana, Mexico, US border kid. El Border Kid through Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. I'll be there. Spotify, Apple Music. You guys can listen to me through everywhere. Watch me. But yeah, man, it was really refreshing me to, actually have a English podcast, because you're actually the third episode.
Awesome.
Out of, I think, maybe 77 episodes.
Number 3.
But yeah, man, hopefully this one's kind of the one that's going to catapult into inviting more people,
of course, bro.
in San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if people want to tune in, they'll tune in, and then, we'll hopefully go somewhere sick, man.
And as much as, obviously, the majority of people I invited to the podcast have been from Tijuana, but, I have a couple in my roster from San Diego. So yeah, man, hopefully you guys stay put and you guys listen to it. And yeah, man, thank you for sharing your story once again. Dude. Hey, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, man. It means a lot, brother.
Yeah, dude, knew a lot, and hopefully some people we could definitely inspire into producing music, or just kind of finding that wave and beating that rat race into doing what you guys are inspired to do. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great night, day, evening, wherever you guys are at. Peace out.
Later,
rock
fellas.
on. Se cuidan, raza. Jesus.
Hey.
Peace out.
Hey, thank you, G. Later, fellas. Have a good one.
Ciao.